Stadium, jam-packed, a complete sellout. And now I'd like to introduce the young man who will be working with us today and who's worked with us for many years on the broadcast of the Detroit Lions in the National Football League. He also covers the play-by-play of the Michigan State Spartans, and it's a real pleasure to have him on the Mutual Network with us today. From Detroit and WJR, here is Bob Reynolds.
Thank you very much, Van. Good afternoon, everybody. This is a big day, of course, here in Pittsburgh. The Steeler fans have waited 40 long years for this one. And though the skies overhead are overcast, the lights have been on here at Three Rivers Stadium since early this morning. Nonetheless, for the Pittsburgh fans, of course, the sun is shining brightly. And no more brightly than for the man who sits to my immediate right in the booth next to is Mr. Art Rooney, Sr., the venerable owner of the Pittsburgh Steelers, who for 40 years has been waiting for this moment. This crowd at Three Rivers Stadium, jam-packed in at 51,112, which is capacity, are expecting to watch a battle here today that will pit the defense of the Pittsburgh Steelers against the offense of the Oakland Raiders. The Oakland Raiders, veterans of these postseason affairs and the winningest team in professional football. And coming in here to Pittsburgh to get ready for this one today, the Oakland Raiders were seemingly, at least, as we watched them at the hotel where they stayed, at the Hilton where we were as calm as the Pittsburgh Steelers. In contrast, were excited. That's understandable. It's Pittsburgh's first playoff ever. The Raiders are almost perennial, as we mentioned, in these postseason head-knocking. And we'll have more of our pregame activity in just a moment.
Coach Chuck Noll of the Steelers had these comments concerning Oakland. The Raiders run the ball very well. They have a strong offensive line and one strong running back in Marv Hubbard, and two guys who can break in on you in Charlie Smith and Clarence Davis. Added to that, they have the #1 receiver in the conference in Fred Biletnikoff, and probably the best tight end in the league in Raymond Chester. All three of their receivers are capable of going all the way. Defensively, they're a solid unit. They have great pursuit and agility, and they can get to the quarterback. Noll still said he was confident his team would do well. It's going to be a tough game, make no mistake about it, he said, but it's been the nature of this team to come up with whatever they've had to do to win. I think we're objective, and I think we're ready. We've worked for this all season. This has been our objective, the playoff. But we'll find out on Saturday. And so it goes. And kickoff just about 8 minutes from now. The Oakland Raiders and the Pittsburgh Steelers.
It's just a great pleasure today to talk to the owner of the Pittsburgh Steelers, a man who really is one of the founders of the National Football League, who waited 40 years to get a championship, Mr. Arthur Rooney. Mr. Rooney, I want to tell you, I know that fans all over the world are very happy for you because 40 years, that's a lot of frustration.
Well, it sure is, Van, but I'll tell you, it was while there was a lot of frustrations and heartaches in it, there was a lot of joy in the people that you've met in this business, and some of them have become my closest and loyal friends, and that evened everything up.
Did you ever get to the point any time in those 40 years where you said, well, I'm just going to dump that franchise and forget football?
There was never any chance of, or that never entered my mind because this has been my life, and I think just the same as Hallis and the Maras and the Bidwells and all of the old people that have been in this all the time, I think they were in it because they loved it. It was part of their life more so than for the financial gain that it brought.
I understand, too, that on the return the other night after winning the championship that you were presented with the game ball. That had to be one of your biggest thrills.
Well, that was the finest tribute and the greatest gift that I have ever received. It was something that I never gave it a thought. It was a surprise to me, and of course I think a lot of our ball players, and I've never known a ball player that ever played for me that I didn't like. And it was something that I really appreciated, and I'll always appreciate it.
Now, would you say this is the best team that you've ever had in those 40 years?
Well, I don't know if it is the best team. One thing about it, it's certainly, I never had a better team than this team. I think that overall that this is the best team that I've ever had. I've had some ball clubs that maybe the first 22 ball players were as good as the 22 I have now, that we never had the bench that we have now.
Also,
Also, you've had some great coaches over the years, too, going back to Joe Bach and Kiesling and a few of them. You had some great.
Oh, I think that we've had some of the top football coaches. Unfortunately, they didn't win. I think that Joe Bach was the biggest mistake I've ever made in this game, because I don't think we would have been maidens up to now had I kept Joe Bach in his first time he was here. He came here in 35, and if I would have kept him instead of letting him go back to college, there's no doubt in my mind that he would have produced winners. And then Keese, and of course Dr. Sutherland and John Michelowson and all of them. And one of the finest football coaches I think that's ever been in football was Buddy Parker. He had a football mind that was second to none. And I thought he was a great coach. Not only did I think that he was a great coach, but I think that he was a great man. I think he was a very honorable and truthful man. And he just came out with everything that he had to say. And I'm sorry that he didn't win for us, because I was close to him, and he was a friend of mine as a player. And it was unfortunate that he didn't stay here.
He got you very close, too, one year, didn't he?
Well, indeed he did. He took us right to the end, and we played in New York, and, well, we just got beat, that's all.
Well, you've seen this game come from very humble beginnings, where you had to tell people where you were playing your games, but now you can't get a ticket to the ball game today, and it's just been a tremendous growth in the National Football League. And what do you envision now for the future of this league? How much bigger can it get?
Well, I don't know that it can get any bigger than it is now, unless something else comes along, like paid television or something that would make it bigger, but it's just about as big as it can get, because everyone is selling out, and probably like in our case, we only hold 50,000, and the stadium, if it could be bigger, I think that it would be bigger here in Pittsburgh and a few other places, but I don't know how it can get bigger in some of the other spots like Kansas City or Cleveland or some of the places that have 75 and 80,000 seat stadiums.
You know, it's wonderful. You've got your family involved right in this football club. Your sons are doing an outstanding job. How much do you yourself now take part? I know you're at the office almost every day, aren't you?
Well, I'm at the office every day. I get here early and leave late at night. I only live 5 minutes walk from here, and I may as well loaf down here as with the ground crew and with the guards as loaf in the house. But they've taken the play away from me. In fact, I get most of my information from the newspapers or on the radio and the television, and but I'm very active, and I try to be. Of course, they, like I say, they do an excellent job. They're dedicated, and they're fine boys, and they work hard.
Well, you've just done a tremendous job in the National Football League, and all America can be very proud of the job you've done. You've been a great credit to it, and just a tremendous gentleman. It's been a great thrill for me just to know you over these years.
Well, thank you, and it's been a wonderful friendship that I've, over the years, been able to make with the news media and the people in the National Football League, and a great many of the fans all over the country, and that was just knowing all of you was worth all of the heartaches and the frustrations that you go through with a losing ball club.
Mr. Arthur Rooney, the owner of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and truly a great gentleman, after 40 years, has his first championship. Now, timeout for 30 seconds.
The Oakland Raiders are as calm as the Pittsburgh Steelers are excited as the two teams get ready for their playoff showdown at Three Rivers Stadium. It's Pittsburgh's first playoff ever, while the Raiders are almost a perennial in the postseason head-knocking. The Raiders viewed game movies this past Monday and held a relaxed workout on Tuesday, while from Pittsburgh came news of hordes at the ticket windows and statements like Joe Green's, "We're not going to let that bubble burst now." Well, we'll certainly soon find out.
The Pittsburgh Steelers and the Oakland Raiders both are high for this ball game today. The city of Pittsburgh is really jumping with excitement. And last night they had a big pep rally, which is reminiscent of college football. And they really had some excitement, which we'll tell you about a little later on. Now let's pause for station identification. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
This is the American Forces Radio and Television Service.
everybody. This is Van Patrick, along with Bob Reynolds and Buck Jersey, and our entire mutual crew. We're at Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh, where today the Oakland Raiders and the Pittsburgh Steelers collide in the American Football Conference game. And, of course, the winner will meet the winner of the Miami-Cleveland game, which will be played tomorrow. And all 4 games will be heard here on Mutual Sports. Today's game is being broadcast all over America and is being sent by satellite to Europe and then shortwaved around the world over several 450 stations of the American Forces Network. We'll have today's lineups after this word.
Well, of course, Oakland coach John Madden is hoping for a Raider victory, but he was very complimentary as far as the Steelers and his own team was concerned. And he had this comment on various records and streaks by both the Raiders and Steelers this season.
I don't think that, these things mean a thing because there are so many things you can talk about. For example, Pittsburgh beat us the last time we played. As I said, I think that's meaningless. Pittsburgh has not lost a home game this year. I also feel that is meaningless. Then you take our side. We have never lost a playoff game. We never lost a playoff game. And then this year we have always beaten the team the second time that we played them. So you can say a lot of things that happen.
It's about 45 degrees, and let's have a look at those starting lineups. And here's my colleague on the broadcast, Bob Reynolds.
Hey, Matt, thank you very much. The Oakland Raiders won the toss, and when this one gets underway in a few moments, they will receive, of course. And we'll have a look at their offensive lineup, first of all. And it's a good one. This is an offensive-minded ball club, and they will severely test the defense of the Pittsburgh Steelers. At split end, it'll be Cliff Branch, number 21, from Colorado, making the start there. Art Shell, number 78 from Maryland, a 5-year veteran, will be at left tackle. Gene Upshaw from Texas A&I, number 63, who's been in the league 6 years, will be at left guard. And the veteran double O, Jim Otto from Miami of Florida in his 13th year. And the co-captain will play at center. George Wheeler, number 64 from Stanford, will make the start at right guard. And that roar from the crowd is the appearance of the Pittsburgh Steelers from their tunnel as they stand down there waiting for their introduction. At right tackle for the Oakland Raiders, Bob Brown, number 76, who played his college ball for Bob Devaney at Nebraska. And the tight end, Ray Chester, number 87 from Oregon State. And here comes the Pittsburgh Steelers. If there was any question in your mind as to where the broadcast was originating from, it should be taken care of by now. We are at Three Rivers Stadium here in Pittsburgh, as you can tell. So there you have the offensive line and the split end and the tight end. Now we'll take a look at the backfield. And of course, it'll be Darryl LaMonica, number 3, in there at quarterback. He's 149 completions out of 281 attempts for 53% and 18 touchdowns. Marv Hubbard, number 44, one of the running backs from Colgate. And Charlie Smith, number 23, will be the other running back. And the flanker, of course, the incomparable Freddie Biletnikoff, number 25, the number 1 receiver in the American Football Conference. We'll have a look at the defensive unit of the Pittsburgh Steelers in a moment. In just a couple of minutes now, the National Football League kickoff for the American Football League contest, as you will hear on Mutual.
The Oakland Raiders did about everything they wanted to in their 28-21 victory over the Chicago Bears this past Sunday. For one thing, nobody got hurt, which means that they'll go into Saturday's playoff battle at Pittsburgh in good physical shape. For another thing, they got 5 passes to Fred Biletnikoff, giving him 58 catches for the year, and the American Football League title, a conference title that is. And Big Marv Hubbard moved for 41 yards, giving him 1,100 for the season, and breaking Clem Daniels' old team record by 1.
Back at Three River Stadium here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Bob Reynolds, along with Van Patrick. We give you now the defensive lineman for the Pittsburgh Steelers. At left end, from Arkansas A&M, a 4-year veteran, O.C. Greenwood, number 68. Queen Joe Green, number 75, from North Texas State, at left tackle. The introduction now of the Oakland Raiders, drawing some reaction from this jam-packed crowd. At right tackle defensively from Jackson State, number 60, Ben McGee. And at right defensive end from East Texas State, number 78, Dwight White. The linebackers, Jack Ham from Penn State, number 59. From Grambling, the middle linebacker, Henry Davis, number 53. And from Missouri, the right back, Andy Russell, number 34. The cornerback, John Rouser, played his college ball at the University of Michigan, number 48. The other corner, Mel Blount on the right side from Southern, number 47. The left safety man, Glenn Edwards, number 27, in there for Vic Anderson, who was a regular left safety normally for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but who was injured in the last game. And so it will be Glenn Edwards at that left safety spot, and you can imagine that Darryl LaMonica will pick on him a little bit, perhaps. And from Western Illinois, at the right safety position, Mike Wagner, number 23. So there you have the offensive alignment for the Oakland Raiders and the defensive unit of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And right now, we're getting all set for the kickoff.
Getting back to Marv Hubbard, who broke the team rushing record set by Clem Daniels, said Hubbard, Clem didn't work behind the kind of offensive line I have now. It's the best in football. I feel a little humble about Clem's record. He's like a god around here, one of the immortals like Gale Sayers. Hubbard, who runs into people instead of around them, plays with such abandon that he was voted the William Gorman Award by his teammates as best exemplifying the pride and spirit of the team. Coach John Madden also managed to rest his frontline troops some of the time against the Bears last week. We play Pittsburgh in the opening round Saturday, and it's a short week for practice. Also, we lose one day in travel, he noted. The club resumed workouts on Tuesday, and they left Thursday for Pittsburgh. They worked out Friday at the Three Rivers Stadium. The Raiders traditionally don't like cold weather or artificial turf, and the artificial turf at Three Rivers Stadium lay frost encrusted in 20-degree temperatures.
Back at Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh now, the Pittsburgh Steelers just introduced to the crowd as they came from their dressing room, and they are down here in front of us now. And the captain, Jim Otto, for the Oakland Raiders, moving out into the center of the field, along with Willie Brown. And for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Andy Russell, along with Sam Davis. The two co-captains, the notification to the crowd that the Oakland Raiders have won the toss and that they will receive. And as we mentioned, the key to this ball game perhaps here is the Pittsburgh defense against the Oakland offense. Now, in the last 4 ball games that Pittsburgh has played to end up the season, they allowed only 5 points. 10 to Minnesota, they shut out Cleveland, they allowed 3, 2 to San Diego, and 3 to Houston. That was it. Oakland, on the other hand, they have played the Pittsburgh Steelers once. They played them in the opening game of the season, and Pittsburgh won 34 to 28. But now, ladies and gentlemen, we invite you to join us for the playing and the singing of our national anthem. To build even higher than it has all day and all last night. As Van mentioned earlier in the broadcast, a professional rally for the professional football team. Well, you don't see many of them, but you saw one last night at Market Square here. Over 6,000 or 700 of the loyal came out. It spilled over to the Hilton Hotel in front of it, and there was a little unpleasantness. One of the Oakland players was injured. One of the Pittsburgh policemen also in the heat of things. But this town is red hot, and they are as hot for their football team, and many of the writers in Pittsburgh felt more hot than they were over the Pittsburgh Pirates when they won the pennant. But remember, it's been a long 40 years before this has happened. And for the Oakland Raiders, they're a seasoned veteran ball club. They're more or less accustomed to this. But right now, the Oakland Raiders ready to kick off, or the Pittsburgh Steelers rather, to the Oakland Raiders. Gorilla all set to kick, and all set to bring you all the action. Here is Van Patrick.
All right, Bob Reynolds, and Gorilla boosted Warren and Davis to deep. It's coming down to Davis at the end zone. He lets it go. Runner of the field of play. Listen to this tremendous sellout crowd here in Three Rivers Stadium. It'll be first down and 10 to go now for the Oakland Raiders. Coach Chuck Noll's Steelers, in winning their first divisional title in their history, established many team and individual records. The two most important are a record 343 points scored in their 11 victories. Now we're ready to go with Bolitnikov and Ciani flanked out wide to the right side. The Mad Palmer, Darryl LaMonica is the quarterback. Hubbard and Smith are the running backs. Waiting now for the snap, and here's the give to Hubbard right up the middle. And he's to the 27-yard line before he's hauled down. Marv Hubbard is pulled down by Andy Russell. Hubbard in 219 carries has gained 1,100 yards. And he's averaged 5 yards a carry. So they're going to mark that ball now on the 27, where it'll be second down. And 3 yards to go for the Oakland Raiders, who have Otto at center, Bueller and Upshaw at the guards, Brown and Shell at the tackles. Now Ciani and Bolitnikov are both on the right side again for the Oakland Raiders. Waiting for it is quarterback Darryl LaMonica, and here's Hubbard again off left tackle. He's at the 30, goes on up to the 33-yard line, and that will be a first down as Henry Davis and Dwight White brought him down. So it looks like the game plan, Bob. Evidently, they feel they can run against the Steeler defense.
Normally, they would attempt to get their running game established, and they have done that here in this first series, at least, picking the first down up to the 32. Now, I might mention, Van, that the Oakland Raiders are in fine physical condition. The Pittsburgh Steelers are hurting a little bit. No less than 8 of the regulars have played with injuries, and causing them to miss some of part of the season.
Bolitnikov is wide to the right, and here's the give now to Smith. Smith off the left side, gets to the 35, and is finally thrown out of bounds at the 39-yard line by Mel Blunt. Blunt is from Southern University, and he was tossed out of bounds on the 39-yard line. That will be a gain of 7 yards, so it's second down and 2 to go. Defensively, L.C. Greenwood and White at the end, Green and Ben McGee at those tackles. Raiders back in the huddle again. Fred Swearingen is the referee. And we've got a jam-packed, sellout crowd here in Pittsburgh today. Hubbard and Smith, the running backs. And they have gone on every play with Ciani and Bolitnikov split out to the right side. But LaMonica has not gone to the air yet. Waiting for it is quarterback LaMonica, running that zone to the right, and he gives it off again to Smith. He's at the 40, brings him up to the 41, and possibly the 42. And he's brought down on the 42-yard line. He's going to be very close to a first down. Carrying the ball with Charlie Smith, and Jack Ham, a linebacker on the left side, is the man who brought him down.
About a yard short, man. So here's a big third down play. The first of what will be several, I'm sure, all afternoon. And this crowd comes to life a little bit, pulling for the defense. Third down, about a yard to go at the 41.
We've just been handed a bulletin, Bob, that Johnny Pont is now the new head coach at Northwestern University.
He took the job then.
He took the job. He's from Indiana, of course. Third down and about a yard to go. One receiver wide, and that's Bolitnikov. And here's the give to Smith, and Smith ducks his head, hits into that line. I don't know whether he made it or not. Stopped by Mean Joe Green. 275 pounds, and he was hanging on to him along with Jack Ham. And it's a big question whether he made it. They may have to get the chain out here to take a measurement on this one, and that's what they're going to do.
I don't think so, man. I don't think they got it, but we'll see what happens as the chain gang goes out. It looks to me like it may be just a wee bit short, and if it is, we won't have to tell you. Nope, they got it by an inch or so.
Okay, first down and 10 to go now for the Oakland Raiders. It's just a matter of inches on that one. Mean Joe Green tried to throw him back. So the ball is right on the 42-yard line. It is first down and 10 to go for the Oakland Raiders from their own 42. And no score in this ball game. We're in the first quarter with 12 minutes and 30 seconds of playing time remaining. Biani and Bolitnikov are flanked out to the right side. Hubbard and Smith, the running backs again, and they're in a double wing. The give is to Hubbard. He's off left tackle at the 45, the 50, goes on to the 48-yard line, and he is very close to another first down, and Glenn Edwards brought him down in Pittsburgh territory on the 48.
They let Dwight White, number 78, the defensive right end, penetrate that time, brushed him off to the left side and went right through the hole. Now White is playing with a bruised thigh and a bad knee. So is Greenwood and co-captain Andy Russell. Also, offensively, we'll tell you about that when they go on to the offense. They got a couple of injured guards in there who are going to be keys to this ball game.
Second down and just inches to go again with the ball on the 48-yard line. Here's Hubbard. He's off left tackle, and he stopped at the 48-yard line, but he might have gotten the inches he needed. But White, the right end, put a shoulder into him and shoved him back. But Hubbard, who's had a great year, as I mentioned, 219 carries, 1,100 yards. He's averaged 5 yards a try. He scored 4 touchdowns, and he's caught 22 passes. And they're going to get that chain out there for a measurement again, and that's the second measurement we've had here in the first quarter. Now remember that immediately following this game today, we'll go to Candlestick Park in San Francisco, and Al Wester and Monty Sickles will broadcast for you over Mutual Sports the San Francisco 49ers and Dallas Cowboys. And tomorrow we'll have a doubleheader for you. Bob and I will be in Washington at Kennedy Stadium, and Al will be in Miami for the Cleveland Browns and the Miami Dolphins. That's the third first down for the Oakland Raiders. They have it on the 47-yard line of Pittsburgh, and first down and 10 to go. Hubbard and Smith, the running backs, and they are in a double wing formation. 2 receivers wide on the right. The pitch is to Hubbard. He's off left tackle, and he is hit at the 48-yard line. And a driving shoulder tackle by White and Andy Russell over on the right side of that Pittsburgh line. As a matter of fact, he lost the yard on that carry. Back to the 48. It'll be second down and 11 yards to go now for the Oakland Raiders. 10 minutes and 50 seconds to play in the first quarter, and there's no score. This is Don Patrick, along with Bob Reynolds, Buck Jersey, and our entire Mutual Sports crew. Mutual Sports sending it all your way from Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh, and that's the 9th play coming up in this first quarter for the Oakland Raiders offensively. They have a pro set now with Bolitnikov on the right side. Mike Siani is put out to the left, and here's LaMonica on the draw to Hubbard. And Hubbard's going to be stopped at the 48-yard line by Biz McGee, the right tackle.
Green was in there first, number 75, and he slowed him up, and they made the stop on him at about the 48-yard line. Now, the first time that these two clubs met, so good was that Steeler defense that they sort of embarrassed this Oakland team by forcing them to turn the ball over to them about 5 times. And that accounted for the Steelers' first 20 points, and this is something that the Raider team wanted to overcome here today, certainly. They don't want to turn that ball over. And they had maintained possession from the opening kickoff, which went into the end zone. They started at their own 20. They're now at the 48 of Pittsburgh.
They took out McGee and put in Doherty now to give him some extra pass protection with a 3rd and 11, and LaMonica is going back to throw for the first time. Look at the time he's got. He stands back there and finally throws it, and it's intercepted. It's intercepted at the 36-yard line. The Pittsburgh Steelers have intercepted LaMonica's first pass, and Andy Russell was the man who did it, and look for this foul. And with a score, Pittsburgh nothing, Oakland nothing. There's a timeout on the field, and now this.
Franco Harris, the young running sensation from Penn State, who tied a league rushing record with 6 consecutive 100-yard games, led a group of 3 Pittsburgh Steelers players named to the United Press International 1972 National Football League All-Rookie Team. Harris, the 6'3", 230-pound fullback who was the Steelers' #1 draft choice last season, gained 1,055 yards and fell just short of John Brockington's rookie rushing record that set last season. Let's go back.
On the first play from scrimmage, the Steelers sent Franco Harris into the line, and Tony Klein is the man who made the stop. And he gained from the 36-yard line up to the 38, a gain on the play of 2. So it'll be second down and 8. So now the Steelers on the offense. Terry Bradshaw is the quarterback. John Fuqua. Franco Harris and Ron Shanklin in that backfield. They're in a pro set as Bradshaw calls the signals. I'll set the defense for you in a moment. It's 2nd down and 8 to go for Pittsburgh, and a big interception by Russell. And the Oakland Raiders may have been offside. The handoff in there to the running back, Franco Harris. It looked like Art Toms, the right tackle, had jumped the count and was offside, so it'll be a 5-yard walk-off for the Pittsburgh Steelers against the Oakland Raiders.
We were just talking about turnovers, and on LaMonica's very first pass, he had all kinds of time, as Van pointed out to you, and took actually too much, couldn't find anybody, and when he did throw it, Russell was right there. He gathered it in at about the 37, and so the Pittsburgh Steelers go onto the offense now, and they have it 2nd down and about 4 to go at their own 43-yard line.
Al Young is flanked out to the left. Shanklin is split to the right. Harris and Fuqua are the running backs as Bradshaw waits. He's got 2nd down and about 3 to go, and he gives it off to Harris. Harris is at the 45 and goes onto the 46-yard line. He's very close to a 1st down. And that was Fuqua on the carry. John Fuqua, in 150 carries this year, has gained 665 yards. He's averaged 4.4 and has scored 4 touchdowns. And so they move the ball to the 46 and bring the chain out and put that chain down. It looks like now we're going to have a matter of inches, and it'll be short by about 6 inches. We've got 8 minutes and 10 seconds of playing time remaining in the first quarter. And it's Oakland nothing and Pittsburgh nothing. The Raiders had taken the ball on their own 20 and had marched down into Steeler territory, but Andy Russell came up with a big interception on the first pass thrown by Darryl LaMonica. First quarter, no score, and out of the huddle they come. Mansfield over the ball. Mullins and Van Dyke are the guards. Loeb and Yolella, the tackles. Fuqua and Franco Harris, the running backs. They've got a tight formation now with 3rd down and inches to go, and here's Harris, and he gets the 1st down. He gets to the 47-yard line, and Tony Klein brings him down. The Oakland Raiders have Tony Klein, Otis Sistrunk, Art Tom, and Horace Jones up front. Little Piano, Gerald Irons, and Gus Otto backing up the line. Wilson, Atkinson, Tatum, and Brown in the secondary.
The Pittsburgh Steelers, of course, have taken this, Steeler fans have taken this club certainly to heart. They've got a lot of rooters out here, and they're sort of military. There's Frenchie's Foreign Legion and Bradshaw's Brigade, and, of course, guerrillas, guerrillas, and so it goes.
There's a pitch out to Franco Harris on the sweep, and he gets to the 50-yard line, and Tony Klein makes the tackle on the great running back of the Pittsburgh Steelers, who in 188 carries has gained 1,055 yards, scored 10 touchdowns, and averaged 5.6 on every carry. So gain on that play to the 49. It will be 2nd down and 8 yards to go for the Steelers from their own 49. The clock moving with 7 minutes to go in the first quarter. And there's no score. The Oakland Raiders, the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers were a slight 2.5-point favorite in this game. Fuqua and Harris, the running backs, 2 wide receivers in the pro set, and Terry Bradshaw waits for the snap now from the center, Mansfield. And now the Raiders have got about 8 men up front. Here's Bradshaw back to throw. He throws just out of the reach of Ron Shanklin, the flanker on the right side. If you see that, Bob, they had about an 8-man defensive line before that ball was snapped.
They are prone to do that, Van, on occasions as we've watched the Oakland club during the course of the season. Now, most of the clubs have gone passing-wise to the zone defense, in which the responsibility of the linebackers up close are the running backs. The outside linebackers are responsible for the wide receivers. But they have not used the zone yet. They're still using a man-to-man, and they move the ball up close again here.
Young to the left side, Shanklin to the right. It's 3rd down and 8 yards to go, and Bradshaw has completed 47.7% of his passes, takes it and goes back to throw again. The pressure's on him. He runs out of it. He brings it to the 50, to the 45. Bradshaw is down to the 44-yard line, and Jerry Irons makes the tackle on Bradshaw. All of his receivers downfield were covered, and the only thing he could do with the pressure being put on him is run with the football. And he ran it to the 44-yard line, but he is short of a 1st down, and 4th down coming up. Bob Waldron has done an outstanding job in kicking for the Pittsburgh Steelers this year. In 65 kicks, he's averaged 43.8. His longest kick was 72 yards, and they're going to try a field goal, Bob, of 52 yards. Zorella's in there. And he has made field goals this year of 28 out of 41, and this one is end over end, but short. Taken on the 1-yard line by the Oakland Raiders, number 43, and bringing that ball back to the to the 10 and to about the 12-yard line. About the 12-yard line, and he falls down right there. And so it'll be first down and 10 to go. And that was John Kolb who made the tackle for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And there's a timeout on the field with the score Oakland nothing and Pittsburgh nothing.
Joining Franco Harris from the Steeler Club on the NFL All-Rookie team was tight end John McMakin, also offensive tackle Gordon Graville. McMakin, a 6'3", 225-pounder from Clemson, who was Pittsburgh's number 3 draft choice, moved into the starting lineup midway through the season and made several key catches in the Steelers' drive to the American Conference Central Division title. Graville, 6'5" and 250 pounds, and the Steelers' number 2 pick from Brigham Young, was a valuable backup man for the Steelers and did a creditable job after injuries to Sam Davis and Bruce Van Dyke forced rearrangement of the Pittsburgh offensive line late in the season. Mike Ciani, Oakland's number 1 pick from Villanova, and Bobby Moore, the number 1 choice of the St. Louis Cardinals out of Oregon, were selected at wide receiver, and Baltimore's Tom Drugas, also of Oregon, joined Graville at offensive tackle. Dennis Havig of Atlanta and Reggie McKenzie of Buffalo were chosen at guard, and Guy Murdoch of Houston was selected as the center.
Van Patrick along with Bob Reynolds and our mutual sports crew at Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh. And now the Oakland Raiders, first and 10 from their own 12-yard line. Bolitnikoff to the right. Mike Ciani is flanked out to the left. Dale LaMonica, the quarterback, and he gives it off to Hubbard, running off right tackle. He's at the 15, 16. He was tripped up and fell. That was L.C. Greenwood, the defensive left end, who tripped him up, but he still fell about 5 or 6 yards.
That field goal attempt of 52 yards, of course, actually turned out to be just as good as a punt because he kicked it short, but it had to be taken there right at the goal line, and so the line of scrimmage after he was pulled down was at the 12-yard line. It was just as good as a punt.
George Atkinson was the man who ran that kickoff back over that field goal attempt a moment ago. Hubbard now in 7 carries has gained 26 yards. Ciani to the left, Bolitnikoff to the right. 2 running backs again to give to Hubbard once more, and he tries the middle of that Pittsburgh Steeler line, gets to the 20-yard line, and L.C. Greenwood is in there to make the tackle again, along with Jack Ham, the linebacker on the left side. Remember, immediately following this game, we'll go out to Candlestick Park in San Francisco. The San Francisco 49ers, the Dallas Cowboys. Al Wester and Monty Stickles are on hand out there in the Mutual booth. The ball is now up on the 21-yard line. It's third down and about a yard to go. Ciani is out. We've got 2 tight ends in there. Bob Moore was injured last night, but he's expected to be into action, and I believe he is. He's in there. Ray Chester and Bob Moore, the 2 tight ends, are in for the Oakland Raiders. Smith and Hubbard, the running backs, and Smith has the football, and he's going to be stopped. He was jarred right loose from his helmet at the 22-yard line, but he might have got enough. We might have to have another measurement here. 4 minutes of playing time remaining. Henry Davis is the man who made the tackle along with Dwight White, and it will be a first down as they mark the ball on the 23-yard line of the Oakland Raiders. First and 10, and that's their 4th first down in this ball game. So make it first and 10 Oakland from their own 23-yard line. Third down situation today. Oakland's 2 out of 2, so LaMonica's batting 1,000 in that department. Mike Ciani is back in there and flanked out to the right side with Brett Bolitnikoff, who's the wide man. Chester's the tight end. They're in a double wing formation. And LaMonica with the football rolling out to the right, looking for a receiver, throws one out to Ciani, and it's incomplete at the 25. Now let's give all of our stations around the world a chance to identify themselves and let you hear from some of my favorite announcers by taking 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
American Forces Radio in the Canal Zone. This is SCN, 790 and 1420.
Darryl LaMonica, a little off target to Mike Ciani out in the right flat, and now he sends Ciani and Bolitnikoff to the left side. He's got second down and 10 to go from the 23-yard line. Steelers defensively are tough. Clarence Davis is in that backfield now as a running back with Hubbard, and Davis on the draw play. Davis gets to the 24, to the 25, and got 2 yards on the play. Tackle was made by L.C. Greenwood and Henry Davis, so they stop him on the 25-yard line. Another stop on our sports parade for Mutual Sports. We're broadcasting all of the 4 playoff games today and tomorrow. And then we'll start broadcasting for you NBA basketball, and all of the major golf tournaments will be coming your way. And, of course, on New Year's Eve, over many of these stations, the Sugar Bowl from historic old New Orleans. Wide to right side now with a third down situation, 3rd and 8, Biletnikoff and Mike Siani. And Davis, a running back, along with Hubbard. And here's LaMonica going back to throw again. LaMonica looks and throws, and the ball is just more or less slammed right to the turf as L.C. Greenwood hit that ball. And it's 4th down coming up. Greenwood coming in.
Great play by Greenwood that time. L.C. just went flying through there to put the pressure on. And so, for the first time this afternoon, the Oakland Raiders have failed on those 3rd down situations, and they're forced to punt here for the first time. 4th down, the ball at the 25-yard line of the Oakland Raiders. There is no score here in this one, and we have about 1 minute and 30 to go in the first quarter.
The deep man is Glenn Edwards, and Jerry DePorster is back in kick formation for the Oakland Raiders. A perfect pass from center, and he gets his kick away. It's sort of a wobbly kick off the side of his foot, but he gets a good roll on the ball. All the way down to the 23-yard line, the 21 to the 20. Rolls all the way to the 19-yard line. What a tremendous roll he got on that one. And that was a 56-yard kick by Jerry DePorster. And with the score, Oakland nothing and Pittsburgh nothing, there's a timeout on the field.
More on the rookie team. John Reeves, the passing star from Florida, who had the unenviable task of quarterbacking the Philadelphia Eagles, was named as the team's signal color, and Jim Bertelsen of Los Angeles joined Franco Harris at running back. Buffalo's Walt Patulski, the former Notre Dame star, was the #1 choice in the February draft, and Cincinnati's Sherman White, the #2 pick out of the University of California, were picked at defensive end, while Otis Sistrunk, a free agent signed by the Rams and then dealt to Oakland, and John Mendenhall of the New York Giants, an undersized lineman from Grambling, were named at defensive tackle. The linebackers were Jeff Seaman, Minnesota's #1 pick from Stanford. New Orleans is John Fittersfield, who played at the University of Kentucky, and Denver's Tom Graham, the 3rd former Oregon player named to the team. Willie Buchanan, Green Bay's #1 draft choice out of San Diego State, and Ernie Jackson, who went to New Orleans from Duke, were named at quarterback, while Tom Dorton, Cleveland's #1 pick, and Tommy Casanova listed as the safeties.
Jerry DePorster getting off a tremendous kick, although actually when it left his foot, it was off the side of the foot, but he got the tremendous roll. And so it's 1st and 10 for Pittsburgh from their own 19-yard line. No score, first quarter, 2:20 to go. 2 wide receivers. Shanklin is split out along with Young. And here's the give now to the running back, Franco Harris, right up the middle to the 24-yard line, and Phil Villapiano, the linebacker on the left side, hauled him in, but not before he got about 5 yards, and he's been averaging better than 5 yards to carry every time he's carried that football. And the scoreboard out here said, "Let's go Franco," and the Italian Army lets out with a big cheer. 1 minute, 55 seconds to go in the first quarter. And Young is flanked to the left side. Ron Shanklin goes to the right side. Fuqua and Franco Harris, the running backs, as Terry Bradshaw calls the signals. And here's the give now to the running back, Fuqua. And Fuqua's at the 26-yard line and is brought down on the 26-yard line by Art Toms and Otis Sistrunk, the 2 tackles of the Oakland Raiders. The Raiders have been in postseason playoff competition 5 times in the past 6 years. For Pittsburgh, this is the first appearance as division winners in their 40-year history. The Steelers lost the 47 Eastern Division playoff to Philadelphia 21-0. It is caught. Great catch by Ron Shanklin. He grabbed it on the 48-yard line, and he's hauled down immediately, but a great catch. That's the first completed pass for either team, but he made a fine reception on that one, Robert.
Did so, and Bradshaw threw it beautifully. Waited to the man ran his pattern, came in and put it right to him, good for 20 yards, up to the 47-yard line of Pittsburgh. And
on the left side, Shanklin on the right. It's 1st and 10 from the 47-yard line of Pittsburgh, and here's Bradshaw back to throw again. Throws one to Harris at the 45. He's at the 50. Harris stays on his feet, fights his way down to the 46-yard line, and is hauled down by Dan Connors. Franco Harris has caught 22 passes this year for 185 yards and 1 touchdown, so he's an all-around player. First quarter.
Back here at Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the first game of the 1972 American Football Conference playoffs, involving the Pittsburgh Steelers, the home club, and the Oakland Raiders. In that first quarter, no score, and it's indicative in the figures. Pittsburgh had 2 first downs, Oakland 4. Pittsburgh 23 yards on the ground, the Oakland Raiders 45. In the air, Bradshaw 2 out of 3 for 27 yards, and LaMonica is 0 for 3. So total yardage in the first quarter, 45 for Oakland, 50 for Pittsburgh. Indicative of the score, of course, 0-0. One turnover, the interception of the Pittsburgh Steelers of LaMonica's pass by Andy Russell. No fumbles and only 1 penalty. Here we go. Pittsburgh's ball. Second down at about 3. Not quite to the Oakland 45.
Fuqua and Harris, the running backs. We start play in the second quarter as Bradshaw brings them out of it with second down situation. And he gives it off now to his running back, Fuqua. He's to the 44-yard line, and Art Toms, the right tackle from Syracuse, 6'5", 250 pounds, hauls him down. Today's game is being sent by satellite to Europe and then shortwaved around the rest of the world over some 450 stations of the American Forces Network, and is being broadcast by Mutual Sports all over America. And it's nice to have you with us, and we hope wherever you are today, you're enjoying the ball game from Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh. We've got a lot of excitement in this one. Third down situation. Pittsburgh is 2 out of 3, and they've got a third down right now and about 2 yards to go from the 45-yard line. Bradshaw has them in a tight formation. Running backs right behind him. Long cadence count. And he gives the ball to Franco Harris. And Franco trying to turn the corner. Gets down to about the 44. And Jack Tatum runs into him right there, the safety man. And I don't believe he made it, Bob.
No, he didn't, Van. He's just a little bit short. So in comes the kick team here now. Talking about these two fine clubs and their coaches, oddly enough, both of them are in their 4th season. Chuck Noll here in his 4th year at Steeler, and Johnny Madden in his 4th season as the Oakland coach. Noll is 23 and 33, and Madden, of course, at 36, the youngest head coach in the league, and his overall record is 38, 12, and 6. And we're going to get timeout here, Van.
Well, they had to do it, Bob, because they were short one man on the field, and I know Pittsburgh did not want to call a timeout for the simple reason that will waste one of those timeouts they'll need so badly at the end of this half. And I don't know whether they're going to take the full timeout or not, but they had to do it because they were short one man. So with the score, hold it here, are they going to do it? No, I think they're going to start play, and they're not going to take the full timeout. And so the kicker is in there, Bob Waldron. He's a 6-footer, 190-pounder from the University of Georgia, and his longest kick this year was 72 yards. So Waldron is standing back on the 40-yard line, and they're going to go. George Atkinson is the deep man along with Cliff Branch. So here we go. Pittsburgh had to lose a timeout that time. It's something they didn't want to do. And here's the kick. Beautiful kick, high spiral. This one will go into the end zone. And right out of the field of play, it was 44 yards, and he really had the height on that one. And so it will be 1st and 10 to go now for the Oakland Raiders. And with the score, Oakland nothing and Pittsburgh nothing, there's a timeout on the field.
Arizona State brings its powerful running game into the Fiesta Bowl football game against upset-minded Missouri Saturday night in Tempe, Arizona. The Sun Devils have a 9-2 record and are the Western Athletic Conference champs. Halfback Woody Green and fullback Brent McClanahan have combined for more rushing yardage than the entire Missouri team. The Tigers have won just 6 of 11 games, but among their victims are Notre Dame and Colorado. University of Washington football coach Jim Owens announced Friday he was planning what he called a major reorganization of his football staff for 1973. Owens said that 3 current aides had not had their contracts renewed for next year. They are quarterback coach Jerry Cheek, offensive line coach Otto Koffler, and junior varsity coach Marv Whitman. Owens said the rest of the staff was returning. A lot of other pro sports going on, hockey and, of course, professional basketball. Just a moment, we'll give you a complete rundown of the schedule.
All set to go now. It'll be the Oakland Raiders ball. 1st down and 10 at their own 20-yard line. We have a scoreless ball game here, and this is the first of the playoff game.
Oakland's ball, 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line. Hubbard and Smith are the running backs. Darryl LaMonica, the quarterback. Melitnikov to the right. Mike Siani split out to the left. And here's the give to Hubbard. He's going wide. He's at the 25. He's up to the 28, 29, out of bounds. Jack Ham ran him out of bounds. Bob, one thing I don't think we pointed out is that we're probably just taking for granted, and we shouldn't. But there is a tie. We will have sudden death playoffs. So this game will be decided regardless because there are lots of lights here. We can go a while.
I doubt very much whether we're going to have a scoreless tie in this one. The tie is quite possible, of course, somewhere along the line. Hubbard, incidentally, been the workhorse of this Oakland club so far. He's carried 9 times and has picked up 39 yards. He's a good, strong runner.
Siani to the left. Bolitnikoff is flanked out to the right side, and waiting for it now is Darryl LaMonica. He's got Hubbard back there along with his other running back, Smith, and here's the give to him, and he is to the 31-yard line, and Jack Ham is the man who made the tackle again. And these Pittsburgh Steelers are tough on defense. They picked up a first down, though, the Raiders, up to the 31-yard line. It'll be first down and 10 to go. First and 10. We have 13 minutes of playing time remaining in the first half of the ball game, and there's no score. Now both receivers are on the right side. Tight end Ray Chester's on the left side. Very overcast at Pittsburgh, and here's the give now to Smith, trying to sweep, and Smith is hemmed in, and he's going to be tackled at the 32-yard line, and he was gang tackled in there. Upshaw had pulled out and was trying to block it for him, but they just had too many Steelers around him.
That Steeler defense stopped sliding over on the play. You know, during the course of the season, the Steelers were third in the conference in defense. They were 4th against rushing and 5th against passing defensively, and seemed to put it together toward the tail end of the season when they did a magnificent job in holding the opposition to only 15 points in the last 4 games. Oakland now has 57 yards on the ground, but they don't have a yard in the air yet.
Wide to the left side, Bolitnikoff. Siani is in the slot to the left. They're in the pro set. It's second down and 9 yards to go, and here's LaMonica going back to throw. He sets up, rolls out, in trouble, trying to break a tackle, throws one to Hubbard at the 34-yard line, and he's brought down immediately. He was tackled in there by Ben McGee, who had him wrapped up, and he had to get rid of the ball. He threw to Hubbard a safety valve, and Jack Ham made the tackle on Hubbard on the 44.
No question of what LaMonica is taking plenty of time in getting the passes that he's thrown. He got only a couple of yards on that one, and that's the total yardage in the air so far here in the first half. He's getting time to throw, but he's taking too much time.
The crowd starts yelling defense, defense, and the scoreboard flashes a sign with third down and 7 yards to go from the 34-yard line. At LaMonica now with one wide receiver to the left, goes back to throw again. He looks, he throws, and it is it caught? Bolitnikoff made a dive for it and came up with it. And the crowd does not believe it. They thought he trapped the ball, but the official says he caught it. It's a first down. First and 10 to go now for the Oakland Raiders. With the ball on the 46-yard line of Oakland as Bolitnikoff made a diving catch of that ball. He was well covered over there. Rouser was there. Edwards was there. And so it'll be marked on the 45-yard line. First and 10, 11 yards gained on the play. And what a catch he made.
Man, Dwight White, number 78, defensive end for the Steelers, lift off the field. And he's had a bad knee. We'll have to wait and see.
Wide receiver on the left side is Mike Siani. Bolitnikoff is split out to the right. Hubbard and Clarence Davis, the running back. And here's Hubbard, and he fumbles. And the ball goes out of bounds. And the Steelers, I believe, have it. And with Edwards, this was his foul. They're getting a time out now. Hubbard fumbled the ball, and the Steelers touched it before it went out of bounds. And so it'll be the Steelers' ball. And with the score, Oakland nothing and Pittsburgh nothing. There's a timeout on the field.
Taking a look at the schedule in the National Basketball Association for this Saturday, all night action. Philadelphia will be in Atlanta, Detroit at Baltimore, Boston at Milwaukee, and Chicago at Golden State. And the American Basketball Association also all night action. Dallas playing Virginia and Norfolk. It's Utah at Carolina, San Diego at Kentucky, Denver at Indiana, and New York at Memphis. In the National Hockey League, one afternoon game, Vancouver at Detroit.
Ready to go back to work. And the Pittsburgh Steelers take over on the 50 to give it to John Fuqua. And Fuqua running off right guard. Gets down to about the 47-yard line. And Toms and Horace Jones make the tackle for the Oakland Raiders. The series of downs originating on the 49-yard line of Pittsburgh. And the ball now is on the 48-yard line of the Oakland Raiders. So it all adds up to 3 yards. It'll be second down and 7 to go. Wide to the right side is Ron Shanklin, and he's the only wide receiver. Fuqua and Franco Harris, the running backs, and this Oakland defense has been keying on Franco, who has the football, going wide, gets the block, cuts in at the 42, and is knocked out of bounds by Horace Jones.
That fumble recovery by Glenn Edwards of Hubbard's fumble at the 49, the second turnover of the Oakland Raiders. And, of course, in the first game, as we mentioned, between these two clubs, the Steelers forced 5 turnovers from Oakland, and they've forced 2 now, and are in their best field position where they have the ball at the Oakland 43, third down, and about 3 yards to go.
Brown and McMahon are in there now, 2 tight ends. Harris in 6 carries has gained 17 yards, so that defense has really been keying on him. Here's a tight formation with third down and 2 yards to go for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and a big third down. No score, second quarter. Terry Bradshaw calling the signals, the young man from Louisiana Tech. Number 1 draft choice a couple of years ago, and here's the give now. The running back, John Fuqua, he dives it over right tackle. He's got a first down on the 39-yard line of the Oakland Raiders. It's first and 10 to go, and the crowd starts to yell, and the flag starts to fly.
The Oakland Raiders defensively that time had 10 men up front, only 1 man back, expecting the run, and Franco still picked it up, or Fuqua rather, with the dive over the middle. So it's at the 40 of the Oakland Raiders.
9 minutes of playing time remaining in the first half, no score. Shanklin is split out wide to the right side. Here's the give to Fuqua. He's back to the 39. He got back to the line of scrimmage, taking the handoff, and Horace Jones of the University of Louisville is the man who brought him down on the 39-yard line. So make it second down and 10 to go for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they're running from the 39-yard line of the Oakland Raiders. This has been a bruising defensive battle here in the first half of this ball game before a sellout crowd at Three Rivers Stadium. Some tense gentlemen, Mr. Arthur Rooney to my right, the owner of the ball club, and his young sons to my left, watching it very intently. Waiting for it now is quarterback Terry Bradshaw with 2 wide receivers. He gives on the draw to Harris. Harris is going to be caught from behind by Art Toms, the right tackle, who made a tremendous defensive play as he broke through there, warded off the blockers, and hauled him down on the 43-yard line, a loss of 4.
Along that line offensively for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Johnny Kolb at left tackle, Sam Davis at left guard, Mansfield at center, Bruce Van Dyke at right guard. And these 2 guards were just activated for this one. Davis had been out with a left knee, hurt it about 3 weeks ago, and Van Dyke hurt his full thigh muscle in the first period of the Houston game. And they're the keys of that offensive line. If anything happens to either of those, the Steelers will be in trouble.
Wide to the right side now is Shanklin. To the left side is Al Young, and here's Bradshaw with 3rd and 13. He throws. It is caught. It is caught by Shanklin on the 31-yard line, right by the sideline. And I want to tell you, there was some question whether he caught it in bounds or not.
Yes, there sure was. There was no question in the minds of the Pittsburgh fans who were here. But amongst the Oakland Raiders and their fans, a considerable doubt as to whether he had that one in bounds or not. And so this crowd now goes wild as the Steelers are as deep as they have been here. With 7:32 remaining in the half, they have it first, the 4th down and about a yard at the 31. Got 12 yards on that one, and they need a yard here on 4th down, and they're going to go for it.
Well, the quarterback's in the crowd. Got him to go for it now, and it's 4th down and 1. It's a tight formation, 2 tight ends. Fuqua and Franco Harris, and here's the give to Fuqua. Fuqua gets to the 30-yard line, and I want to tell you, he was really belted. He was hit in there by Jack Tatum of Ohio State, and he really belted him, and he did not make the first down.
Well, they gambled. The Steelers did down there at the 31, and the Raiders' defense was equal to the task. Really got belted. We're getting a timeout now, and of course, when we play again, the Oakland club will have the ball first and 10 at their own 30. Oddly enough, the Raiders in these postseason games are 0-3. Oddly enough, on the road that is, but at home they are 4-1. And as Van mentioned, the Steelers, this is their first time in the playoffs. The Steelers here at Three Rivers Stadium have won all 7 of their home games. They scored 200 points and allowed only 83. But they're going also today, in addition to some bumps and bruises, particularly to the 2 offensive guards, without wide receiver Frank Lewis, who fractured a collarbone. And to take his place, the Steelers elevated Barry Pearson from the taxi squad to take over for it. So with this jam-packed sellout crowd of 51,112 here in this beautiful new stadium, Three Rivers Stadium, watching the action and settling down. They were all on their feet that time on the fourth down play, hoping that their favorites here could pick up the yardage, but they were not able to do so. A tremendous job done by the Oakland defense when they had to do it. So we're just about ready to go now as LaMonica has them in the huddle. They break out of it defensively for the Pittsburgh Steelers, who have been using basically that zone defense. And out over the ball comes Big Jim Otto, and we're all set to go again.
Mueller and Upshaw the guard, Shell and Brown the tackles for the Oakland Raiders. Two wide receivers on the left side, Bolitnikoff and Siani. Smith and Hubbard the running backs. And here's Smith on the sweep. Going wide, cuts in at the 35, gets up to the 39, and is rolled out of bounds by Henry Davis. But not before he got about 9 yards on the play, on the sweep. That's Smith, who in 170 carries has gained 686 yards. He's averaged 4 yards a carry, has scored 8 touchdowns. Charlie Smith is from the University of Utah. It's second down and 1 to go with the ball on the 39-yard line of the Oakland Raiders. We hope you're enjoying the ball game today, wherever you are. Nice to have you with us. You've got another one coming up immediately following this one, San Francisco and Dallas in Candlestick Park. Tomorrow it'll be Green Bay against Washington, Miami going against the Cleveland Browns. Hubbard and Smith, the running backs. Two wide receivers. Siani's on the left, Bolitnikoff on the right. Here's Hubbard trying the middle, gets to the 41 and gets the first down. Andy Russell is the man who made the tackle for the Pittsburgh Steelers at the 41 or 2. When they unfile him, it'll be on the 42-yard line. Still in Oakland territory, and it's 1st and 10. 7 minutes exactly of playing time remaining in the first half. It's Oakland nothing and Pittsburgh nothing. National Conference rushing leader Brown of Washington, 285 attempts, 1,216 yards. We'll see him tomorrow against the Green Bay Packers. And Hampton also in there, Brockington of Green Bay, Hill and Ron Johnson rushing leaders. Back goes LaMonica, gets time, throws the bomb to Siani, and he is covered by 2 men. And it's incomplete down on the 18-yard line. Back there to cover for the Pittsburgh Steelers was Mike Wagner. And with him was Mel Blount, and they had double coverage on Mike Siani.
And Wagner was with him all the way. 6'1", 210, 2-year guy from Western Illinois. Stayed with him all the way. Talking about Marv Hubbard, who's been the workhorse of this Oakland team here today, certainly. He noted that the Raiders lost their season over to the Steelers here, 34-28, and said he was very happy that they were winding up playing Pittsburgh instead of Cleveland, because he said, we haven't played Cleveland, and it's got to be to our advantage to meet Pittsburgh again, and we know a little bit about them.
LaMonica's 2 out of 6 for 13 yards and 1 interception. He gives it now to his running back, Clarence Davis, and Davis is at the 46-yard line, is hauled down on the 46-yard line by Mike Wagner, the right safety man of the Pittsburgh Steelers. He hit him at the 46, he fell forward to the 47, and Henry Davis in there on the tackle on the 47-yard line, a gain of 5. It'll be 3rd down and 5 to go. The Mad Bomber, Darryl LaMonica, let go with one of those home run balls a moment ago to young Mike Siani, the rookie from Villanova, but I want to tell you, they had great double coverage on him. And now Bolitnikoff's on the right side. He's got 2 men over there with him, Davis and Hubbard, the running backs in the double wing formation. LaMonica back to throw. Shuts up, looks, throws, and it's batted down again, incomplete. Batted down at the line of scrimmage. Joe Green was in there along with Ernie Holmes, and they batted that ball down. So that brings up a 4th down.
And we do have ourselves a defensive battle here. There's no question about that. Hubbard has carried 11 times for 42 yards, averaging 3.8, but that Steeler defense is tough. And dropping back Glenn Edwards, the single safety man back there for the attempted punt by Jerry DeBoistu, whose first one was 56 yards.
DeBoistu's back on the 30-yard line, gets the good pass from center and kicks it away. High spiral coming to Edwards on the 13. He gets back to 15, goes to the 20, the 25, he's at the 30, stays on his feet, brings it up to the 33-yard line. It is brought down on the 33-yard line by Pete Banaszak of the Oakland Raiders. A 40-yard kick and a good return, so it'll be 1st down and 10 to go now for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they'll be running the ball from their own 34-yard line with a 1st and 10 to go. As right, we've got a timeout here. We've got 5 minutes, 37 seconds of playing time remaining in the first half of this ball game at Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh. So there's a timeout on the field with a score. Oakland nothing, Pittsburgh nothing. Now this word.
Well, as we started to tell you in the National Hockey League, one afternoon game today, that's Vancouver at Detroit. Under the lights, Atlanta will be at Boston to play the Bruins. Pittsburgh is at Montreal. Chicago at Toronto. Minnesota at the New York Islanders. Philadelphia at St. Louis, and Buffalo at Los Angeles. All-night games in the World Hockey Association. Minnesota is at Cleveland. The Quebec Nordiques will play host to the Los Angeles Sharks. Alberta's Oilers are in Chicago to play the Cougars. And Philadelphia is under the dome in Houston playing the Arrows. So that a look at all the professional action scheduled for this evening and this afternoon in the National Hockey League, WHA, and of course the National and American Basketball Associations. A host of college basketball games played on Friday night. Top-ranked UCLA picked up their 50th consecutive victory as they topped Pittsburgh 89-73. We'll have details on that and other scores a little later.
Ready to go back to work, and here's Bradshaw to get to Harris. He's at the 35, the 40, the 45, and brings it all the way up to the 48-yard line before he overs System. Brings it down. System finally wrestled into the turf. And a big gain by Franco Harris, a first down at the 47-yard line. Gain on the play of about 12 yards, so it's first down and 10 to go now for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They have the ball on their own 47-yard line. Franco, let's go, the scoreboard says. Wide to right side is Shanklin. And Young is deployed out to the left side. It's Terry Bradshaw picking up the first down on the first play on the give to Franco Harris. First time today he's been able to pick up that much yardage. And here's the give now to the running back, Silkwa. And he runs right into Otis Sistrunk. And there, the play is terminated.
Not only that, it ended, too, right there. We're talking about Franco. Over here in Pittsburgh, an interesting story. They have over here a fan club for him. It's called Franco's Italian Army. And the latest recruit, Frank Sinatra, and the guy that heads the whole thing over here, flew out to Palm Springs to inaugurate Mr. Sinatra's part of the Army deal.
All right, a loss on the play of 3 yards. It'll be second down and 13 yards to go now for the Steelers. And here's Bradshaw back to throw. He left throws, and he threw it too low and sent it to Fuqua out in the left flat. He just threw it a little bit too low for Fuqua. But he had to get rid of it. The pressure was being put on there. Big Tony Klein, 6'2", 240 from Miami of Florida. Bradshaw, incidentally, is 3 out of 5 for 40 yards. Mark the ball on the 44-yard line. Make it third down and 13 yards to go now for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Mutual Sports sending it all your way from Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh. It's very overcast. Two wide receivers, Fuqua and Franco Harris, the running backs. Bradshaw back to throw again. Look, throws over the middle. It is intercepted and then dropped. So it's going to be ruled incomplete. Phil Villapiano, the linebacker, who has 3 interceptions this year, intercepted and dropped the ball. It was intended for McMahon, the tight end. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
This is the American Forces Radio and Television Service.
Atkinson is the deep man, and here's the kick by Walden. And it's rolling around on the 15-yard line. The Steelers let it roll. It finally rolls dead on the 16. That was a kick of 40 yards. So it'll be first down and 10 to go for the Oakland Raiders, and they will be running the ball from their own 16-yard line. And with the score, Oakland nothing and Pittsburgh nothing, there's a timeout on the field.
UCLA, the nation's top-ranked college basketball team, posted its 50th consecutive victory Friday night, an 89-73 win over Pittsburgh. It was the Bruins' 5th win of the year. Keith Wilkes scored 20 points to lead UCLA, and Coach John Wooden returned to duty after a week's hospitalization for a heart ailment. In other top games, Maryland withstood a late George Washington charge to win 88-79. South Carolina nipped Indiana 88-85. Alabama shocked Florida State 74-68.
All ready to go now with a first down and 10 to go for the Oakland Raiders. And we've got a scoreless ball game here in this first half with 3 minutes and 53 seconds of playing time remaining, which gives me a chance to remind all of our listeners around the world that immediately following this game, the San Francisco 49ers will battle the Dallas Cowboys, and Al Western, Monty Sickles are in the mutual booth out at Candlestick Park. Then tomorrow, Bob and I will be at Kennedy Stadium in Washington, the Green Bay Packers and the Washington Redskins. And then immediately following that one, Al will report along with Bob Halloran from Miami's Orange Bowl, the Miami Dolphins, and the Cleveland Browns. Mike Ciani is flanked out to the left side, Bolitnikoff to the right side, and here's the give now, running back Davis. Or Smith it is, and Smith cuts in over right tackle, gets to the 17-yard line, got 1 yard on the play, and that's about it. It'll be second down and 9 to go now. L.C. Greenwood, the left end, is the man who made the stop for the Pittsburgh Steelers, along with Ben McGee.
You know, we're talking about what a great defensive battle we've got here today, and indeed we have. This Pittsburgh team, in 7 out of the 14 games in the regular season, didn't give up a touchdown. Now, that's about as good a defense as you can possibly get. The Oakland Raiders, on the other hand, solidly defensive too, ranked 5th in their conference against rushing and 7th against passing.
2 receivers on the left side as LaMonica gives it off to his running back. Smith trying to turn the corner, and he is forced out of bounds at the 19-yard line by Mel Blunt, the right cornerback from Southern University. Forced him out of bounds on the 19, so that'll make it third down and 7 yards to go for the Oakland Raiders, and this has been a defensive battle all the way here in the first half.
They sent in another cornerback, John Doherty, going in there now for the Pittsburgh Steelers defensively, and out of there comes Henry Davis, one of the linebackers. Obvious passing situation here for the Mad Bomber from the West Coast. Harold LaMonica looking over the defense now. Big third down play. No score, 3:09 to go in the first half.
Ray Chester split out wide to left. Bolitnikoff and Ciani on the right side. LaMonica throws over the middle, incomplete. Intended for Bolitnikoff, and he got through the ball badly, that's all. Brings up a 4th and 7.
And the fans here stand up. LaMonica is 2 out of 8 in the air for 13 yards, which gives you an idea of how solid that zone defense is, how effective it has been against the passing. And this huge crowd standing almost as one to give their defensive unit a hand.
Jerry DePoister is back in kick formation. Glenn Edwards standing back on the 40-yard line in Pittsburgh territory. DePoister gets his kick away, and it's a good one. High, booming kick all the way to the 33. Edwards back to the 35, the 40, goes to the 45, brings it up to the 48-yard line. It is hauled down on the 48-yard line, and making the tackle for the Oakland Raiders was Phil Villapiano, the linebacker. So it'll be first down and 10 to go now for Pittsburgh from their own 48. That was a 47-yard kick by Jerry DePoister. First and 10 to go for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Running the ball from their own 48-yard line. No score. 2 minutes and 45 seconds of playing time remaining in the first half. Ron Shanklin is flanked to the right side. To the left side now goes Al Young. Fuqua and Franco Harris, the running backs. Terry Bradshaw is the quarterback, and Bradshaw to give to Harris. He's trying to find running room. Ducks his head, gets to the 50-yard line. Sistrunk and Connors making the tackle for the Oakland Raiders right on the midfield stripe. A gain of 2 yards on the play. Second down, 8 yards to go now for the Steelers. Clock running with 2 minutes and 20 seconds. What a defensive struggle we've had in this first half.
Bruce Van Dyke, the offensive guard on the right side, pulling out on that play, and we had an eye on him, and you can tell that he's not at full speed. He just couldn't get out of the runner's way there for a minute.
2 wide receivers again in the pro set. Bradshaw waits for the second down, and he gives it to Fuqua, and before Fuqua could get his hands on the ball, Otis Sistrunk was standing there waiting for him. And he belted him to the artificial turf at the 47 or 6-yard line when they place it down. It'll be marked on the 47-yard line. Now remember, the series originated on the 48, so it's 3rd and 11. Sistrunk, who is 6'4", 255 pounds, who did not play any college football, is the man who hung him down right there. The 2-minute warning, and Bradshaw comes over to talk to Chuck Noll, the head coach, while LaMonica is standing over along the sidelines there, and the defensive captain goes over. Fuqua today, in 9 carries, Bob, has gained only 8 yards, and that's really unusual because he'd averaged 4.4 in every carry this year.
talking a moment ago about the fine coach of the Oakland Raiders, John Madden, who was signed by Philadelphia Eagles as a red shirt when he played at California Poly after he'd been a Little American as a defensive tackle. He's the youngest major league coach, served a couple of years as the assistant coach at Hancock Junior College in Santa Maria, California, and a couple of years there as head coach. And during that time, has brought his club 3 championships in 4 years in the California Collegiate League. They moved on to San Diego in 1964 as the defensive coordinator there and remained for 3 years before he joined Johnny Roush at Oakland in 1967. At that time, he was noted for his ability to coach the linebackers. Born in Minnesota, and he has on his staff a fine group of coaches, including one that's familiar to Van and I, certainly, Ollie Spencer, who handles the offensive line. Used to play some fine football for the Detroit Lions. Tom Doms, Tom Flores, Ray Malafsky, all fine coaching staff at Oakland. And here we go, ready to go.
All right, third down, 11 yards to go for the Steelers. Bradshaw going back to pass, sets up, looks, gets some time. Now he's in trouble. He backs up. He's still in trouble. He's trying to get rid of the ball. He's going to be hammered down way back on the 28-yard line. Tony Klein is the man who stayed with him all the way along with Otis Sistrunk, and Bradshaw just couldn't get away from them. Still no score in this ball game with 1 minute and 47 seconds of playing time remaining. I would imagine, too, Bob, if the Steelers had to do it over, they'd try that field goal when they were down there close enough earlier in the ball game. That's the first sack of the ball game, and he lost 18 yards on the play. Back in kick formation now, the Steelers, Bob Waldron, and he gets his kick away. Ooh, he pulled that one all the way down to the 12-yard line. It's taken there by the Oakland Raiders. Atkinson back to the 25, the 30, the 35, to the 40, the 45. He stays on his feet, brings it all the way up to the 49-yard line before he is hauled down. 57-yard kick. And a great run back by Atkinson all the way up to the Oakland 49-yard line, a run back of 34 yards. And so with 1 minute and 24 seconds to go, the Oakland Raiders have great field position.
And, of course, the obvious strategy here, as they call timeout, Oakland does, to talk things over, is to move it up for a first down or so, or maybe 2. If they can't get it in for 6, at least they'll be in field position to go off at halftime leading 3-0 if they can get the field goal. That was a fine run back by Atkinson, and the blocking was set up beautifully for him, too. Again, pointing out the importance of the specialty team. They are much maligned sometimes. They don't get a great deal of attention from the press and from the fans themselves. As a matter of fact, if you ask the fans of the Pittsburgh Steelers or the Oakland Raiders to name the specialty teams, I doubt that many of them could do it. But they are vitally important, especially on kick returns and punt returns. It's the job offensively of those specialty teams to get field position for their club. And defensively, it's the job for the specialty team to make sure that they don't get that field position. The Raiders have picked up 78 yards on the ground so far. The Steelers 43. 13 yards in the air, that's all for Oakland. 91 total yards here in the first half. With about 1 minute and 24 to go, the Steelers have picked up 65. So we're all set to go again on a scoreless ball game here in the first half from Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh.
Gianni wide the left side, Bolitnikoff to the right, and here goes Lamonica back to throw. He looks, throws a swing pass out to the left back to Marv Hubbard. Right in his hand, nobody near him, he drops the ball. Hubbard's probably thinking to himself, if they got a hole out there, I'll just go right down in it.
Yeah, you're right out there naked when that happens. There was nobody around him, and he just plain drops the football, and of course, nobody feels worse than Hubbard does about it. Lamonica still getting pretty good pass protection, still getting plenty of time to throw the ball. So there's still 1 minute and 18 to go. The ball at the 49-yard line of the Oakland Raiders now. No score, second down, still 10.
Bolitnikoff is the only receiver wide, although Siani is going in the slot to the right side. Hubbard and Smith, the running backs for Oakland. And here's Lamonica back to throw again on second down. He throws a sideline pass. It's incomplete. Right in the hands of Siani and right out of his hands. And the Oakland Raiders are the ball club who've been in these playoffs before, but they're the ball club that seems nervous here in this first half. 1 minute and 13 to go. Lamonica's 2 out of 10 for only 13 yards.
Greenwood that time, of course, putting the pressure on, too, and doing a good job of it.
It will be third down and 10 now from the 49-yard line. the Raiders are out of the huddle. They send Siani and Bolitnikov on the left side, and Chester goes to the right, and Vanasek is in the backfield now, along with Smith. And here is LaMonica going back to throw. He looks, and again, the ball goes right down to the curve. It sort of slipped out of his hands, and Green and White were putting the pressure on him. It's going to be ruled an incomplete pass. It just slipped out of his hands, that's all.
There was a question about it for a minute as to whether it was going to be ruled a fumble recovered by the Raiders or an incomplete pass. And the official said he did have his arm back, drew back, and let it go, so it's ruled an incomplete pass. But, of course, not completing it brings up a fourth down, and with about 47 seconds left to play, this is no place to attempt a field goal. Certainly, they'll have to punt.
Glenn Edwards is back in the safety spot. Here's the 7th punt of the ball game as the Poister is back there.
Nobody back deep for the Pittsburgh Steelers here. They're not quite too sure with only 47 seconds left.
He's going to kick it. Beautiful kick. High spiral, hitting down on the 5 and bouncing right on into the end zone. The 51-yard kick by Jerry DePoister. I want to tell you, this young man from Wyoming has really developed as a kicker, hasn't he? 6'1", a 200-pounder. He's kicked today 56 yards, 40 yards, 47 yards, and 51 yards.
Yes, I can recall that, and I'm sure you can too, that when the young man came out of college and joined the Detroit Lion organization, he was in the All-Star game in Chicago, came to Detroit, and had a great deal of difficulty in adjusting. He just wasn't kicking very well. That's all there was to it. So they let him go.
He's doing a tremendous job for the Oakland Raiders. 2 wide receivers, 1st and 10 from the Steeler 20, and here's Bradshaw giving the ball off to Harris. Harris trying to turn the corner, brings it up to the 25-yard line, gets to the 26, and is brought down on the 26-yard line by Horace Jones with 25 seconds to go in the first half. It'll be second down, and 4 to go for the Steelers from their own 26-yard line. 15 seconds. They'll have to hurry to get another play underway. No score here, and the clock ticking them off. They're going to have to hurry to get the play. 8 seconds to go. Bradshaw making no great effort. It's 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second. They'll never do it. There's the gun. That's the end of the first half with a score Oakland nothing and Pittsburgh nothing.
Back at Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, both the clubs have come back on down to the field now to get ready for these final 2 periods of play. As we mentioned, we hope that wherever you are, you will stay tuned immediately following the broadcast of this one, when we will switch Mutual's facilities to the West Coast for Al Westrick and Monty Sickles, who will be on hand there at Kezar Stadium in San Francisco for the game between the Dallas Cowboys and the San Francisco 49ers. At Candlestick, I said Kezar. My goodness. That dates me a little bit, I guess. I can still see those pigeons flying over there. That'll be a great ball game, no question about it. The 49ers have got a little something going. Brody is going to make the start out there in hopes that he can continue to have the touch. But right now, in a moment, we'll have the kickoff for the second half. Now,
there was just one game played in the National Hockey League Friday night, and the California Golden Seals won it 4-2 over the Buffalo Sabres. In Friday night's World Hockey Association games, the Chicago Cougars edged the Winnipeg Jets 3-2, and the New York Raiders down the Ottawa Nationals 7-5. Indiana football coach John Pont has accepted the head coaching position at Northwestern University. Pont succeeds Alex Agassi, who left the Wildcats to become head coach at Purdue. Club President Buzzy Bavasi says the Padres will remain in San Diego next season. There had been rumors the Padres might be headed for Washington, D.C., which is currently without a Major League Baseball team. But the club owners have issued a statement saying they expect vigorous support from the San Diego community, including a promise by city officials to help sell more tickets. And fans indeed are what the Padres need, as they were last in the major leagues in attendance in the last year.
Now we're ready to go with the kickoff of the second half, and Steve Davis is dropping back along with Preston Pearson for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and kicking off will be Jerry DePoister as we get ready to go now with the second half of this football game, and the score is Oakland nothing and the Pittsburgh Steelers nothing. I don't know, Bob. I just wondered what these two coaches told them at halftime and whether they'll open up the second half or not.
Yep. We'll know shortly here. There's one thing sure, they're not taking any chances. Even in the closing seconds of that first half, the Steeler fans here were hoping that Bradshaw would put it in the air, but they weren't taking any chances.
By referee Fred Swearingen, and Jerry DePoyster moves forward. Here's the kick. High end-over-end kick. Coming down to the 1-yard line. It's taken there by Pearson back to the 10 to 15, and he is hit from behind and brought down on the 22-yard line. The tackle was made by Thomas of the Oakland Raiders. First and 10 to go now for Pittsburgh from their own 22-yard line as we start playing the second half. No score. Steelers out of the huddle. McMahon is flanked out wide to the right. We've got heavy clouds over the stadium now. We may get some rain, although it was not forecast. They've got 3 wide receivers. Fuqua and Harris, the running backs, and Bradshaw on a give now to Fuqua trying to sweep. He gets to the 24 and is belted down on the 25-yard line. Tackle made by Gerald Irons, the middle backer. So mark the ball on the 25-yard line. A gain of 3 yards on the play. It'll be second down. Mark the ball on the 25-yard line. A gain of 3 yards on the play. It'll be second down and 7 to go now for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Bradshaw is 3 out of 6 for 40 yards. Harris today has carried the ball 10 times and gained 34 yards. Bradshaw sends them out now with 2 wide receivers. Shanklin to the right side. Pearson, Artekit, Young to the left. Here's the pass to Franco Harris. He gets to the 30, brings up to the 35, and is finally hauled down to the 36-yard line. And Art Combs is the man who made the tackle. Let's take 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
This is the American Forces Radio and Television Service.
Patrick, along with Bob Reynolds, Buck Jersey, and our Mutual Sports crew at Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh. Now Young and Shanklin are split out again in the pro set. Fuqua is the running back, and back goes Bradshaw. He throws one out to Harris at the 35. He's at the 40. He stays on his feet. He's brought down at the 44-yard line. Franco Harris catching 2 straight passes, and Gerald Irons is the man who made the tackle again. And so they'll mark it on the 44-yard line. It'll be second down and just about a yard to go. Second and a yard to go for the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are on the move. Got 12 minutes and 45 seconds of playing time remaining in the third quarter. The Dallas Cowboys and San Francisco will follow this game. Wide to the right side is Ron Shanklin from North Texas State. Waiting for it is Terry Bradshaw of Louisiana Tech down in Ruston, Louisiana. Bradshaw now gives it off to his running back, Fuqua. He brings it up to the 50-yard line, gets the first down for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So the Steelers are on the move now. Jones and Art Combs are the 2 men who made the tackle. Tomorrow, another doubleheader for you. The Washington Redskins, the Green Bay Packers, the Miami Dolphins, the Cleveland Browns. Listen to this crowd now, starting to chant the goal. Up on the 50-yard line. It's first down and 10 to go. Shanklin is deployed to the right side. Young is split out to the left side. Fuqua and Franco Harris, the running backs. Flying Sistrunk, Combs, and Jones up front defensively for the Raiders. They moved a couple of linebackers in tight. And here's Bradshaw back to throw. He throws one. It's completed at the 32-yard line to Shanklin. Shanklin got to 30. Shanklin down to the 28. He's knocked out of bounds by Nehemiah Wilson. Ron Shanklin has caught 3 passes today. First down, Steelers, and the Steelers are on the move. They've got that ball down now on the 28-yard line of the Oakland Raiders, and that's first and 10. Steelers out of the huddle. Mansfield over the ball. Mullins and Van Dyke the guards. Gold and Ravello the tackles, and waiting for it, Bradshaw. He's back to throw again. He looks and throws deep down the middle, and it is batted away. intended down the middle for Al Young, who had a hand on it, but he couldn't hold it. It was batted away.
Well, I guess, Van, that answers the question as to whether they'd open up here in the second half, because obviously the Pittsburgh Steelers have. Those two passes to Harris for 11 and 8, and then the one to Shanklin for 23 down to the 28-yard line has opened things up a little bit. And the ball now at the 28-yard line of the Oakland Raiders. They have a 2nd and 10 right there. No score here at Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh.
Wide to left side is John McMahon, the tight end. Two receivers wide on the right side. Young, along with Shanklin, who's caught 3 passes, and waiting for it, Bradshaw, and he pitches it out to Fuqua. He's following his blockers. He's at the 25, and he's knocked out of bounds at the 24-yard line by George Atkinson and Horace Jones. 11 minutes and 25 seconds to go in the third quarter. No score. The ball on the 24-yard line. 3rd down and 6 to go. And a big 3rd down for the Steelers. Bradshaw is 6 out of 10 for 82 yards today.
Interesting enough, Van, most of the yardage on both sides, running-wise, has been on the wide stuff. It's pretty tough to run up the middle. We've seen very few draws. Only one, if I can recall.
McMakin, the tight end now, stood out and waiting for it is quarterback Terry Bradshaw. They got 2 wide receivers, and back goes Bradshaw to throw again. He throws, and a great catch out there by McMakin, the tight end. On the 16-yard line, it's another first down for the Steelers, who are on the move. 1st and 10 to go for Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh had only 4 first downs in the first half, and they got 4 in this drive. McMakin, the tight end, made the reception. Wide to right side now is Ron Shanklin. Young is put out to the left. He's playing in place of the injured Lewis, who's been the regular wide receiver. Here's Bradshaw back to throw. He throws to the corner of the end zone, incomplete over Shanklin's head. He was covered back there by Nehemiah Wilson, who has 4 interceptions this year. Very, very overcast at Three River Stadium, although the weatherman says he didn't expect any rain. I don't know how it's going to keep from it. It's very overcast. That ball is back down again on the 16-yard line, where it'll be 2nd down and 10 to go for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And they are threatening for the first time today. The Oakland Raiders in Pittsburgh were scoreless in the first half, and with 10 minutes to go in the third quarter, still scoreless. The ball is between the 15 and the 16-yard line. It's 2nd down, and waiting for it now is the quarterback, Terry Bradshaw, with the 2 running backs and the 2 wide receivers in the pro set. Fuqua and Harris are back there. Here's Bradshaw again. Throws the sideline pattern, completed at the 11-yard line to Young, and Young is knocked out of bounds right at the 11-yard line. So he is short of a first down, of course. With the ball going out on the 11-yard line, it'll be 3rd down coming up, and about 6 yards to go. Fuqua in 12 carries, gained 46. Ball down now on the 11-yard line, and it's 3rd down and 6. Wide to the left side goes Young. Shanklin is deployed to the right side. Franco Harris and John Fuqua, the running backs, right behind the quarterback, Bradshaw. The signals are being called, and Bradshaw going back to throw. He's being rushed. He throws one in right in the hands of John Fuqua, and he couldn't hang on to it. Would you believe Bobby hit him right in the hands with that one? Tatum had to rush on, and Bradshaw had to get rid of it. And so now Gorillas will start to yell as Roy Gorilla comes in to try a field goal.
No, the attempt will be made from the 18-yard line of the hash mark on the other side. That means, of course, they have a good shot at it. They've had a 52-yarder that was missed, but was good as a punt. This one will be 18.
Bob Walden will hold, and this crowd will tell you whether it's good or not. Pretty tough for him to miss this one. The kick is in the air. It is good. An 18-yard field goal with a score. Pittsburgh 3, Oakland nothing. There's a timeout on the field.
The Miami Dolphins, winners of 14 games without a loss this season, are 3-1 favorites to win the Super Bowl in Los Angeles January 14th, according to Jimmy the Greek Snyder. The Las Vegas odds maker gave the Washington Redskins the next best odds to win the Super Bowl at 5-1, while the Dallas Cowboys were 6-1. Snyder's odds were only on the Super Bowl itself and not on the individual divisional playoff games. He gave these other odds for the other 5 teams in the divisional playoff. Pittsburgh 7-1, Green Bay and San Francisco 8-1, Oakland 12-1, and Cleveland 35-1. Groton Miss and 10 other fillies and mares will compete today in the $25,000 added Pokeson handicap at Philadelphia's Liberty Bell Racetrack. Other stakes races today include 2 $20,000 added handicaps, the Monumental at Laurel in Maryland and the Miami Beach Calder. The Louisiana Futurity will be running 2 $14,000 added divisions at the New Orleans Fairgrounds. Now back for action at Free River Stadium in Pittsburgh.
All ready to go now and kicking off. Gorella, who just booted an 18-yard field goal, and the Pittsburgh Steelers have the lead by a score of 3-0. And going deep, Jimmy Warren, number 20, Clarence Davis, number 28, to run this one back. And here's the boot by Gorella. Good, high, end-over-end kick all the way down to the end zone. Davis has got it. He's coming back with it. He's back to the 5, goes to the 10, the 15, gets to the 20, brings it all the way back to the 22-yard line, and is brought down at the 22-yard line. And it'll be first down and 10 to go for the Oakland Raiders. Making the tackle was Pearson. So first and 10 now. And when they unpile them, the ball is on the 21-yard line. 21-yard return. First down and 10 to go for the Oakland Raiders. And the crowd starts chanting defense again for the Steelers. First and 10 from their own 21. The Oakland Raiders with Hubbard and Smith, the running backs. 2 wide receivers on the right side. Now they're in a double wing formation. And here is LaMonica rolling to the right, looking and throwing, and it is caught. Caught out there by Charlie Smith, the running back. And Smith went out of bounds on the 27-yard line, a gain of 6 yards on the play. And so the Oakland Raiders have second down and 4 yards to go. Hubbard today, in 11 carries, has gained 42 yards. That's a 3.8 average. Raiders are back in the huddle. They are trailing by a score of 3-0. Remember now, if this ball game is tied at the end of the regulation 4 quarters, it will be sudden death. 2 receivers on the right side, Bolitnikov and Siani. And here's the give now to the running back, Charlie Smith. He's at the 30. He's up to the 34-yard line, and Andy Russell makes the tackle there. So it'll be a first down for the Oakland Raiders. He got some blocking on that left side and broke through there and brought it all the way up to the 34-yard line where it's first and 10 to go for Oakland. Raiders go back in the huddle again. The clock shows 8 minutes and 55 seconds of playing time remaining. The end, the third quarter of this ball game at Free River Stadium in Pittsburgh. Out of the huddle now, Mike Stiani in the slot to the right. Bolitnikov is deployed wide to the right side. The tight end is Ray Chester. Hubbard and Smith, the running backs, right behind the quarterback, Darryl LaMonica. 4-3 defense employed by Pittsburgh. Hubbard has the ball, and Hubbard is going to be brought down to the 34-yard line. No gain on the play. As Dwight White, the right end, made the tackle for Pittsburgh. Bob?
Steeler defense trying to dig in and hold here now as LaMonica tries to generate a little offense. The thing opening up a bit here in the second half as we expected it would. Steelers going out in front on the 18-yard field goal after Bradshaw moved them from his own 22, most of it in the air, 5 out of 8. So LaMonica now trying to get something going.
Second down and 10 from the 34. Back goes LaMonica to throw again. He looks downfield and fires over the middle. That ball may have been tipped again. Elsie Greenwood got a hand on it. That's about 3 or 4 times today they've done this.
And Greenwood has been on 2 of those. He's stuck up those hands and batted them down. Now Pittsburgh, utilizing that zone defense, slides the linebackers. They are responsible for the wide receivers, the short stuff. The theory of that zone defense, of course, is to separate the defensive secondary into specific areas or zones, and the Steelers do a good job of it. 1 man assigned specifically to each zone. Big third down, 3 wide receivers. Here's LaMonica going back with 3rd and 10. The crowd is standing. He throws over the head of Bolitnikov. And that brings up a 4th down. Dr.
record, he was staying rightfully with Kolipnikov, but he threw over his head and listened to this crowd. Listen to the roar of approval of this highly partisan crowd here at Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh. Oakland on those third down plays have converted only 3 times out of 9 attempts. Pittsburgh has got 4 out of 10. So Jerry DePoister will have to kick now on 4th and 10, and he'll boot it from around his own 24.
Glenn Edwards is deep in a single safety. DePoister waiting back on the 20-yard line. Gets his kick away, moves it out of there. Edwards waiting for it on the 21. Edwards looking for running room, trying to go wide. He's hemmed in, gets back to the 25, and that's it. That was a 44-yard kick by Jerry DePoister, and a return of 4 yards by Glenn Edwards, so it'll be first down and 10 to go from that point. Joe Carroll made the tackle. There's a timeout on the field with a score. Pittsburgh 3, Oakland nothing.
A spokesman for the New Orleans Saints denied that there had been plans for a Friday meeting with Don McCafferty, the former coach of the Baltimore Colts. According to a New Orleans Times copyrighted story, bad weather postponed McCafferty's flight from Baltimore. The Times claimed McCafferty confirmed he was to fly to New Orleans on Thursday, but fog prevented him from making the trip. He did not comment on the report. He would meet with Saints officials. The Saints had a 2-11-1 record in the recent season, and fans have been calling for the dismissal of Coach J.D. Roberts. Owner John Meekum Jr. has said he would wait until after Christmas before announcing whether Roberts would be kept or fired. McCafferty started the 1972 season as head coach of the Colts, but he was fired in mid-season. So, numerous coaching changes have been made already in professional football as well as baseball. It looks like there could be more.
Back at Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh. Ball at the 25-yard line of the Pittsburgh Steelers in possession of the Pittsburgh club, and they lead it 3-0 on an 18-yard field goal. They break out of the huddle, and we're all set to go again.
Ready to go, Robert, and wide to the right side now. Just one wide receiver, that's Young. The give is to Harris. Harris gets about 3 yards to the 28-yard line. He's brought down by Gerald Irons, the middle backer of the Oakland Raiders, who have not been close enough today to try a field goal. 50,350, the complete sellout here for the ball game today at Three Rivers Stadium. And the score is 3-0 with the Steelers leading. We've got 7 minutes and 16 seconds of playing time remaining in the third quarter. McMacken comes out of there. And now then Shanklin goes wide to the right side. Check it. Now he's right back in. So they brought out. Did they take him out? Fuqua and Harris are in there, so McMacken is in there at the tight end. And here's the give to Franco Harris, and he plows through there to the 34-yard line. We got a yard shy of a first down, and the tackle was made by Gerald Irons and Jack Tatum. And they are a yard shy of a first down. Shanklin comes out, and 2 tight ends are in there right now for Pittsburgh. Brown is the other one along with McMacken. So it'll be third down, a yard to go for the Pittsburgh Steelers with the ball resting on the Pittsburgh 34-yard line. 6.5 minutes of playing time remaining in the third quarter. An 18-yard field goal by Roy Gorella, giving Pittsburgh the lead. Fuqua and Harris are the running backs. The 2 ends are in tight. Waiting for it now is the quarterback, Harris, or the Bradshaw, and he gives to Harris, and Harris has got it. Brings it up to the 37-yard line. It's the first down. As Bradshaw handed that ball off to Franco Harris, and he made a drive off left tackle that brought it all the way up to the 37-yard line, where it's first down and 10 to go now for the Steelers.
They had both tight ends in there that time. Coming out Larry Brown and going back in, wide receiver Ron Shanklin, who caught one big pass in that drive that resulted in the field goal. He slid out wide to the right side here.
Bradshaw's waiting for it with 2 wide receivers. First down in the 37. He's going back to throw. He looks, throws, and it's Shanklin in there at the 50-yard line making a dive for it, but he couldn't get it. Incomplete. He was covered by Nehemiah Wilson, the left cornerback, and it's incomplete. Franco Harris today in 13 carries has gained 47 yards. He's averaged 3.6. You got to bear in mind one time, on 7 different occasions in 7 different games this year, Pittsburgh did not allow a touchdown. Bradshaw is 8 out of 15 for 95 yards. The ball is resting on the 38-yard line. It is second down. between the 37 and 38, so call it the 38. Make it 2nd down and 10 to go for the Steelers with 2 wide receivers. Shanklin on the right side. Waiting for it now is quarterback Terry Bradshaw, who's backing straight up, staying in the pocket, looking. He's going to be tackled by Tony Klein. Klein right in there on top of him to sack him. And they're going to dump him on the 29-yard line. A loss on that play of 8 yards.
Mullins missed his block on him, number 72 out there. No question, Van, we were talking about both of these clubs. It's obvious both of them came to play here today. They're up for it, both of them. And we've got that kind of a football game. The Oakland Raiders, seasoned veterans of these postseason attractions, in there and firing up defensively. Jimmy Warren has come in there now, defensive back from Illinois. They take out a linebacker, the Oakland Raiders. That's a defensive change.
That was the 2nd sack of Bradshaw. He's waiting now with 2 wide receivers and 3rd down coming up in long yardage. Back he goes. He fires over the middle. It is right in the hands of the defensive back, Jimmy Warren, and he was running with it before he got it.
A little excited. He just came in there. That was his first taste of it, and he almost pulled that thing in. So we got a 4th down now, and of course the Steelers will have to punt. And the Oakland Raiders dropping back George Atkinson deep along with Cliff Branch.
Back in kick formation is Waldron, and he gets his kick away. Booms it high. A high floating kick. A fair catch is called for. Fair catch is called for by Cliff Branch. And that was a kick of 43 yards. The ball will be marked on the 29-yard line of the Oakland Raiders. And it will be 1st down and 10 to go for the Oakland Raiders. And with the score, Pittsburgh 3, Oakland nothing. There's a timeout on the field now.
Bear Bryant says he has no intention of leaving the University of Alabama under any circumstances. Rumors have been flying around projecting Bryant's name for the head coaching job with the New Orleans Saints. Bryant put a stop to those rumors, saying he hasn't been contacted in any way about the Saints situation, and as he put it, nor am I interested in leaving the University of Alabama under any circumstances. An official bid to hold the 1976 Winter Olympic Games in the Reno Lake Tahoe area has been submitted to the U.S. Olympic Committee. Tim Sullivan, chairman of the Tahoe Squaw Valley Bicentennial Olympic Committee, said the formal application was mailed Thursday.
Travel agent.
Marked on the 28-yard line, 29-yard line actually is across at 28, so it'll be 1st down and 10 to go for the Oakland Raiders when play is resumed. This Pittsburgh defense, we're just talking with Jack Putt, who's one of our crew members today in our booth of Charlotte, North Carolina. And Jack was pointing out about the tremendous job that Bud Carson, who came up here from Georgia Tech, has done with this defensive unit, and he really has. Wide to the right side now goes Siani along with Bolitnikov. Hubbard and Smith are the running backs from a double wing formation. And waiting for it is LaMonica. He's going back to throw. He looks. He's in trouble. He's going to be dumped. Back on the 17-yard line by Dwight White.
Dwight White in there again to make the big play. And Chuck Noll, the Pittsburgh Steelers coach, was talking before the game about this guy who was an all-conference end, that he had showed considerable improvement with his injured knee. And Chuck said, a lot depends on our defense. They've come up with the big play all year. They have forced turnovers and interceptions, and they've carried us the last 5 weeks. And at the moment, they're doing the same thing here.
2nd down and 20 yards to go from the 19. The give now is to the running back, Smith. Smith is off right tackle to the 27-yard line, and Andy Russell makes the tackle. Dwight White came out of there for one play, but now he's going right back in there again. Hanneman replaced him, and now Hanneman is coming out, and Doherty is coming in. Getting an extra defensive back to cover on this 3rd down situation. It's 3rd and 11, and Vanasek is checking into the backfield, so he might have brought in a play from John Madden from the bench. The Raiders, George Blanda and Jim Otto have played in 182 straight regular season games, but we haven't seen Blanda today. Double wing formation. 3rd and 11, and back goes LaMonica. He's back to throw. He throws over the middle. It is caught by Chester at the 42. He's in the 45, all the way up to the 47-yard line. 1st down for the Oakland Raiders. Mike Wagner made the tackle on Ray Chester, the tight end.
Beautiful play there, too, and then LaMonica threw the ball beautifully. The defense of Pittsburgh knew he was going to the air. He had everybody out, including Banaszak, who was split out wide to the left. They just flooded both sides, hit Chester beautifully for 19 yards to keep the drive going, and the Oakland Raiders now have it first and 10 at their own 47-yard line. 3-0 to score, Pittsburgh.
Siani to the left side, Bolitnikov to the right side, and the give now is to Smith. Smith has stopped right at the line of scrimmage. He might have got a yard to the 48, and that's all. Tackle made by Mean Joe Green and Holmes. In there to make the tackle. He got it on the 48-yard line, so that'll make it second down and 9 yards to go for the Oakland Raiders. Nice to have you with us today, and we hope you're enjoying the ball game wherever you are, as the game is being broadcast across the nation by Mutual Sports and shortwave and by satellite around the world. Ball on the 48-yard line, second down and 9 to go for the Oakland Raiders from their own 48. Holmes is in there as a tackle, and he was in on that last play. Waiting for it, LaMonica. LaMonica going back to throw. Retreat, stays in the pocket. He's in trouble. He looks, he throws. It is caught on the 49-yard line by Charlie Smith. On the 49-yard line of Pittsburgh, and they had the pressure on Darryl LaMonica again. Bob?
He still takes a lot of time back there, doesn't he? Actually, when he found a receiver, he only got 3 yards on the play. So, again, the Steeler defense is forced with a third down situation here, faced with it, and LaMonica needs desperately to keep this one alive. Third down. They've got about 6 to go, and they are at the 49-yard line of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Big third down right now for Darryl LaMonica. He has 3 wide receivers, Chester on the left side, Siani and Bolitnikov on the right side. And here's LaMonica going back to throw. He throws, it's got it down, but it's right into the hands of Otto, the center. And he runs it down to the 45-yard line, and Holmes is the man who batted it right into goal number 00, Jim Otto of Miami of Florida. Right into his hands, and he got one of those rare thrills. He ran with the football. He got it to the 45-yard line. It's short of a first down. It'll be 4th down for the Oakland Raiders.
The pass was deflected, as you mentioned, Van, of course, and that made the pass complete, even though Otto is the center of the ball class. Number 78 had his hands up there. Batted the ball down and went into the center of Oakland's hands, and he carried the ball down to the 45-yard line, almost the 45.
Jerry DePorter is in there to do the kicking. And going back in the single safety spot, number 27, Glenn Edwards. DePorter fading back all the way to the 40-yard line in Oakland territory. It's 4th and 2. 41 seconds to go in the quarter, and low pass from center, but DePorter booms it out of there. All the way down to the end zone and out of the field of play. A 45-yard kick by Jerry DePorter with 32 seconds to go in the third quarter, and Pittsburgh leading by a score of 3-0.
So Terry Hanratty, who the last time that he was in there moved the ball well, taking it up to 22. We'll start from the 20 now. Moving the ball upfield on 5 pass completions and 8 attempts, 2 of them to Franco Harris, 1 each to Shanklin and to McMacklin and to Al Young. Now we'll see what he can do here against this tough Oakland Raider defense.
Bob, I think you caught Hanratty out of the corner of your eye down there on the bench. Bradshaw, but he is activated. He is ready to go. Wide to the right side is Shanklin, and here is Bradshaw on the give now to Fuqua. Fuqua cuts in at the right guard, gets to the 22, and Tony Klein in there to make the stop. Hanratty, you're talking about the Notre Dame quarterback, has been out of action with an injury now for about the last 7 to 8 weeks. But he is activated and can play. The Steelers in passing are 8 out of 16 for 50%, and the 10 seconds now showing on the clock, and the clock is running. So they'll bring it out now with a second down and 8 yards to go from the 22-yard line. Pittsburgh leading 3-0. 1 second. They never get the play underway. That's the gun and the end of the third quarter. With the score, Pittsburgh 3, Oakland 0.
Suspended guard Wally Jones has agreed to undergo a physical examination by the Milwaukee Bucks team physician. General Manager Wayne Embry said Friday Jones was put on medical suspension without pay last week by the Bucks management, who said he had been losing weight and stamina. He was ordered to undergo a physical exam by a club-approved physician. Jones left Milwaukee after the suspension to see his attorney in Philadelphia. The attorney, Richie Phillips, said Jones underwent an exam by doctors in Philadelphia, and tests showed nothing wrong with the basketball player. The Bucks physician, Dr. Parks Letelier, said the Philadelphia exam reports had not been made available to the Bucks. If they had been, I know I would have seen them, and I haven't seen or spoken to Jones since he left for Philadelphia, Letelier said. Jones spent 6 days in Philadelphia and 3 more back in Milwaukee before calling Embry. The general manager said Jones agreed to an exam by Letelier, but did not know when it would take place.
At Three Rivers Stadium, the Pittsburgh Steelers with the football, and they have it on the 22-yard line, second down and 8 yards to go. And they lead by a score of 3-0. And we'll get a station break here right after this first play by the Pittsburgh Steelers. That was an 18-yard field goal by Roy Gorella that gave them the 3 points. And now Al Young of South Carolina State is flanked out to the left. He's caught 6 passes for 86 yards this season. Shanklin is deployed out to the right side, and here's Bradshaw going back to throw. He looks and throws deep, and Shanklin's got a foot race on. But Shanklin down on the 35-yard line, and Wilson just barely got it out of his hands and knocked it down. Oh, the foot race was on right there. And let's pause now, 10 seconds for station identification. And here are my favorite announcers across the country. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
At 790 and 1420 in the Canal Zone, this is SCN Radio, an affiliate of the American Forces Radio and Television Service.
Bradshaw threw that ball right on the money, and well covered by Nehemiah Wilson, and Jack Tatum also dropping back. Franco Harris in 13 attempts, 47 yards. Fuqua in 13 attempts, 22 yards. Bradshaw's 8 out of 17 for 95. 2 wide receivers. Bradshaw going back to throw again. He sets up. He's in trouble. He's going to have to run with the ball. He's hit at the 20, gets away from him, and finally dumped. Back on the 17-yard line by Art Toms, the right tackle, number 80, from the University of Syracuse. And so now then it'll be 4th down, and the kicker, Bob Walden, will have his work cut out for him.
3-0 is the score here. Only score coming on the 18-yard field goal by Roy Girella. 9 first downs for Pittsburgh, 9 for Oakland.
We're in the final quarter, and here's the boot by Walden. Cliff Ranch lets it go. It gets a good roll. Goes down to the 30, down to the 25. It's still rolling all the way down to the 20-yard line. Woo! 61 yards.
What a punt. Now, we've seen 2 of them like that. One of 56 from DePoister, and this one 62 yards all the way down to the 20-yard line of the Oakland Raiders.
Boy, the rolls have been good today for the kickers, haven't they? Been kind to Bob Walden that time. All the way down to the 20. Walden today has kicked 44, 40, 57, 43, and 61. Now Bolitnikov and Ciani are flanked out wide. To the left side, it's 1st and 10 on the Oakland 20 for the Raiders. Darryl LaMonica, the Mad Bomber, they call him, and he gives it off to his running back, Smith. Smith at the 25, Smith at the 27, and brought down from behind. On the 27 by Jack Ham, the left backer who has 7 interceptions this year. He's a Penn Stater. And on New Year's Eve, over many of these stations, we'll be in New Orleans to broadcast the Sugar Bowl game, matching Joe Paterno's Nittany Lions against the University of Oklahoma Sooners, coached by Chuck Fairbanks. And that should be a tremendous ball game. Wide to right side goes Bolitnikov. Smith today in 13 carries has gained 55 yards. Mike Ciani is set out to the left side. Hubbard, Smith, the running back. It's 2nd down and about 3.5 to go, and the give is to Hubbard, and Hubbard's going to be stopped right at the line of scrimmage and dropped so long. He was finally brought down on the 27-yard line. The tackle made by Dwight White. White made the tackle. We've got 13 minutes and 5 seconds to go in this ball game, and the clock is moving, and Pittsburgh leading 3-0.
American Forces Radio in the Canal Zone. This is SCN, 790 and 1420.
latest news on that earthquake in Nicaragua, which destroyed much of the capital city of Managua early today. Latest wire service reports say the earthquake killed and injured thousands of persons. Those reports based on ham reports from Nicaragua monitored in Mexico. The U.S. Southern Command reports that all military personnel of the U.S. military group in Managua and their dependents are safe. Nicaragua's touch with the outside world has been virtually cut off except for the ham radio reports, which states that huge downtown sections of the city of 274,000 people are in absolute ruin or flames. The reports say at least 2 major hotels and 2 hospitals were destroyed in the quake, which registered 6.25 on the Richter scale. Only one American has been reported killed thus far. She was 36-year-old Rose M. Orlich, a secretary at the U.S. Embassy, which was heavily damaged. About 3,000 Americans live in Nicaragua. The Southern Command has dispatched 3 C-130 Hercules aircraft to the scene, responding to an urgent request for assistance. The planes are loaded with medical supplies, plasma, and water purification equipment, and personnel trained in disaster relief operations. They will offer assistance to the stricken country and assess what additional aid is needed. Once again, all U.S. military personnel assigned to the military group in Managua and their dependents are reported unhurt in today's disastrous earthquake there. For SCN News, Air Force Sergeant Bill Knowles.
Shanklin, the only wide receiver. He's flanked out to the left side. And here's Bradshaw, the give now to his running back again, trying the middle, and this time, no go. Top right on the 42 was John Fuqua and Otis Sistrunk. You'll see his cousin tomorrow, Manny Sistrunk, with the Washington Redskins as we broadcast the Redskins and the Green Bay Packers. Remember, immediately following this game, we'll go to Al Western Monty Stickles at Candlestick Park in San Francisco. Here's the third down. And 5 yards to go, and the crowd is yelling defense. Shanklin wide to the right side. Al Young out to the left side. And waiting for it now is quarterback Terry Bradshaw. Those Oakland fans, quite a group of them are here. They were yelling the defense. And back goes Bradshaw. Bradshaw looks, he's in trouble. And he runs out of it. He runs back the other way and throws incomplete intended for McMichael, the tight end. He had him open out in the left flat, but incomplete.
He just spotted him out there and elected to try to get it to him rather than eat the football and take the loss back there. So we've got another punt situation now for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Bob Walden in kick formation. Cliff Branch dropping back for the Oakland Raiders. It'll be the 12th punt for the Steelers for the game.
Here's the kick, and it's a good one. Coming down on about the 15 and waiting for it down there for the Oakland Raiders is George Atkinson, and Atkinson is down right at the 14-yard line. That was a 44-yard kick. So it'll be first down and 10 to go. From the 14, there's a timeout on the field with a score of Pittsburgh 3, Oakland nothing. Now this one.
In Des Moines, Iowa, a member of a special committee seeking to win back the Olympic medals and Olympic records of the late Jim Thorpe said Friday his group has enlisted the help of President Nixon and Vice President Spiro Agnew. Bill Stanfield, Deputy Commissioner of the Amateur Athletic Union for the state of Iowa and a member of the AAU board, said petitions carrying the names of more than 400,000 persons have been presented to Mr. Nixon, quote, for his consideration and whatever help he can give us, unquote. In addition, Stanfield said the Jim Thorpe Athletic Committee, which consists of a number of present and former athletic greats, has met with Mr. Agnew and was given his enthusiastic support, and any help they can give through the Vice President's office we will be getting. The committee has been trying for the past 10 years to win back the records and medals of Thorpe, an Oklahoma-born Indian who has swept the Olympics in 1912 but lost his amateur status.
Back at Three River Stadium here in Pittsburgh, LaMonica is 6 out of 14 for 44 yards. He's been intercepted twice, and the Raiders trailing 3-0 here with 11-12 to go. Will start play first and 10 from their own 14-yard line.
Bolitnikov to the right side, Siani to the left, and here's a new quarterback in there, Stabler. Stabler throws out in the right flat. It's completed. but only a yard gain on the play, and I believe Bolitnikov was hurt on the play. And the trainer and the team doctor out there led Bolitnikov, who caught that short pass on the snake, Ken Stabler of Alabama, who's a 3-year man. And Stabler hit him all right, and then Bolitnikov was belted.
In the first game between these clubs, the first game of the season, actually, when Pittsburgh won at 34-28 in an offensive show, it was Kenny Stabler who started that game, and then Darryl LaMonica came off the bench and threw 3 late touchdown passes as the Raiders fought back to make it close. And following that one, LaMonica then quickly regained his starting berth. He wound up tossing only 281 passes for 1,998 yards, and you compare this to 3 years ago, when he threw 426 times for over 3,000 yards. LaMonica, recognized as one of football's finest deep passers and used to throw long repeatedly, but of course the game's different now. Everybody's playing some zone defense most of the time, and that takes away the chances for the long pass. Maybe it works in the favor of the running game, but at least it takes that away. Bolitnikov is up on his feet now and moving over to the sidelines under his own power. He's a fine football player, great receiver. 6'1", 198-year veteran from Florida State, who going into this one had caught 58 for 802 yards. He's the #1 receiver in the American Football Conference. And of those receptions, 7 touchdowns. Cliff Branch, number 21 from Colorado, a rookie, has gone in to replace him. So we're all set to go. The ball up the 20-yard line. Second down and about 5 to go for the Raiders.
Anazek and Smith are the running back. Stabler's the quarterback. He's back to throw. He's in trouble. Running out wide. He throws. The flag is down. He hits the tight end. Chester's at the 20. Brings it on up to the 25-yard line. And he is brought down there, but a flag is down. Preliminary indication is holding. It'll be a holding penalty against the Oakland Raiders, and this will be only the second penalty of the ball game. The other one was against Oakland for 5 yards.
Amazing how hard-fought this thing is up in the pit there in the front. And that's where these battles are won, right down on the line, that there has been only 2 penalties. The Steelers have not been penalized at all. And so that holding penalty, offensive holding of 15, will move the ball back to the 10-yard line. Actually, about half the distance to the goal. Down will remain the same, but it'll be second down now and 15 yards to go for the Oakland Raiders, who are backed up at their own 10-yard line. 3-0 is the score. The only points coming in the third quarter with 9:52 to go on an 18-yard field goal by Ray Girella so far. We've got 10:39 left here in this exciting ball game.
2 wide receivers on the right side. Stabler's going back to throw. He can't find anybody open. He lets go. It's caught by Chester. He's down on the 21-yard line, and Andy Russell made the tackle on the 21-yard line. But remember, the series originated on the 14, and the ball now is on the 21-yard line, so it'll be third down coming up now for the Oakland Raiders. And remember this, a clock will be a factor. 10 minutes of playing time remaining in this ball game, and Pittsburgh favored by 2.5 to 3 points, or leading 3-0.
John Madden,
the field goal, Bob, by Gorilla, that's all.
Yeah, excuse me, man. I was just watching John Madden, the Oakland coach over there, had some words to say to the official, and the official said, just get back on the bench there a little bit.
Here's Stabler back to throw again. He's in trouble. He's stopped. He was caught by Dwight White to right in. Right back on the 13-yard line. They dump Stabler.
Well, that big defensive play once again by Dwight White, who came off the injured knee and came in here today and has done a super job in getting a standing ovation from the Steeler fans who stand up below us here as he comes off to the sideline. Give him a great hand. He just fired through there, grabbed Stabler and threw him for the loss back inside the 15, and it is now 4th down and 11, and DePoyster will have to kick it from about the 1 or 2 yard line. Dropping back, number 27, that's Glenn Edwards. So the Steelers should get pretty good field position after this one, Van.
DePoyster gets his kick away. High spiral. Glenn Edwards calling for the fair catch on the 47-yard line, and you're right. They got great field position on the Oakland Raiders. 47-yard line. That was a kick of 34 yards. And with the score, Pittsburgh 3, Oakland nothing. There's a timeout on the field now. Pittsburgh's ball, 1st and 10 on the Oakland 47-yard line. One wide receiver, Harris, and Bucher the running backs, and here's Harris to the 45, getting 2. And Horace Jones, the right end, is the man who made the tackle. So it'll put him down on the 45-yard line. We've got 9 minutes of playing time remaining in this ball game. And the score is Steelers 3 and the Raiders nothing. And out of the huddle now, and wide to the right is Shanklin. In a pro set, Terry Bradshaw, the quarterback, with Bucher and Harris right behind him. And he fakes it, runs out to left on the big leg of the 40 to 35, and he's out of bounds. Down on the 33-yard line as he bootleg the ball around the left side. A great call by Terry Bradshaw.
And they move that ball down there inside the 40, down around to the 35 or 33-yard line. They're going to put it down. A good play by Bradshaw. Good call. Man, in the 20 ball games that you and I have worked together this past season, this has to be the finest defensive battle between two clubs that I saw, and I think you'll agree with it.
That was a great call. It really was.
Great game.
I know the people in Shreveport, Louisiana are happy. That's where Bradshaw is from. 3 wide receivers. 2 times he's carried that ball today, and he has gained 19 yards. And here's Bradshaw on the give now to Fuqua. The dive off right guard down to 31. He got 2. It'll be 2nd down and 8. Otis Sistrunk and Phil Villapiano, the man who made the tackle for the Oakland Raiders. Bradshaw today is 8 out of 18 in passing for 95. And he's carried the ball, as I mentioned, twice for 19. He's averaged almost 10 yards a carry. Ball down on the 31-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 8 yards to go for the Pittsburgh Steelers. 8 minutes, 12 seconds to go in the ball game. That's the situation. Wide to the right side. Goes Shanklin. Young is deployed to the left side. Bradshaw in the pro set with a long cadence count. And he fakes to Harris and goes back to throw. Ducks away from one man and throws it, and it is intercepted by Nehemiah Wilson of the Oakland Raiders. He intercepted the ball on the 25-yard line and ran out of bounds on about the 29-yard line. And there's a big break for John Madden's Oakland Raiders.
And the first turnover for the Pittsburgh Steelers coming on the interception there that time. Wilson picking it off, and so Oakland now will start from their own 29-yard line. 1st down and 10. 7 minutes and 50 seconds of playing time remaining in this one here from Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh. The first game of the 1972 American Football Conference Playoff.
Villapiano was putting the pressure on Bradshaw that time. A double wing. Blitnikoff's back in there. The give is to Hubbard. Hubbard is at the 30-yard line, and he gets to the 31, and Henry Davis brings him down to the Pittsburgh Steelers. He broke 2 tackles to get to the 31, getting 2 yards on the play. Stabler's the quarterback. He's 2 out of 2 for 16 yards. He replaced Darryl LaMonica. Clock shows 7 minutes and 15 seconds of playing time remaining. Now there's an injured ball player out there, and the team trainer and the doctor of the Oakland Raiders is out there again. So they're going to administer to him, and Buck Jersey is trying to pick him up there, the glasses. The injured ball player is Bob Brown, the right tackle. He's been ill with the flu this week, and so is Darryl LaMonica. So Brown is on his feet. Joe Green is helping him up there. Mean Joe, the left tackle of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Bob Brown, of course, is one of the great tackles in the league. He's a big boy, 280 pounds, and they're helping him off the field. So he'll be replaced in there. Probably Seiler will come in.
What a tremendous collegiate season record he had at Nebraska. Bob Brown being helped to the sidelines over there. So it's 2nd down now. 8 yards to go for the 1st down. The ball just over the 30-yard line of the Oakland Raiders, who trail the Pittsburgh Steelers 3-0. And Kenny Stabler is operating at quarterback.
Here's Stabler coming in on the back door, and the ball is in the air. It's fumbled. And let's see, I believe the Oakland Raiders recovered on the 25. L.C. Greenwood was putting the pressure on Stabler. Ball squirted out of his hand. And it was recovered by Sealer, who just went in there, replacing Brown, and he recovered the ball for the Oakland Raiders. Now look at that clock, 6 minutes and 40 seconds to go. That's the situation. Pittsburgh leading by a score of 3-0, and Doherty comes in, an extra defensive back with a third down and 13 yards to go for the Oakland Raiders. And here probably is one of the big plays of the ball game for Oakland, Bob.
No question about it, Van. That clock is showing 6:23 and running. They've got a third down and 14 here, and they need a big play here.
We've had 6 sacks in this ball game. There's a flag down. Steelers may have been offside. Stabler's in trouble. He's looking, and he's still in trouble. He throws the ball, and it is covered by the Pittsburgh Steelers' Mike Wagner.
You're right, though, Ben.
Shovel the ball like a basketball pass.
You're right, Ben. It was an offside, which will be called against Pittsburgh, and so I believe it will be, which will nullify it as a holding call against Oakland. And the Pittsburgh Steelers get a big break, and listen to this crowd.
Boy, there's the biggest break of this ball game.
I'll tell you one thing, it looked like the left side of the Pittsburgh line was a little offside.
One on the 35-yard line. He tried to shovel past that ball, and it was a fumble. Recovered by the Pittsburgh Steelers. There were 2 penalties, holding and offside. They nullified each other. The Steelers took the ball on the 35. 2 wide receivers on the left, 1 on the right side. Bradshaw gives to Franco. He's down to the 30. He's down to the 25, and he's out of bounds on the 24-yard line. First down for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
4th turnover for the Oakland Raiders against Pittsburgh here today. 2 pass interceptions and 2 fumbles. And it was on one of the turnovers. Harris now has picked up 62 yards and in 15 carries, and he is everything that they've said about it. Great football player. Oakland now will have to dig in here.
McMakin is flanked out wide to the left side. We have 2 wide receivers. And waiting for it now is the quarterback, Terry Bradshaw, and here's Franco again. Gets down to the 23-yard line with it. He picked up about a yard on the play, and Dan Connors of Miami of Florida made the tackle. Remember, following this ball game, the San Francisco 49ers and the Dallas Cowboys, and that game will be coming your way from Candlestick Park in San Francisco, and we've got a doubleheader tomorrow. The Green Bay Packers and Washington Redskins, and then the Miami Dolphins and the Cleveland Browns. Ball on the 23-yard line. 2nd down and 9 yards to go. Young and Shanklin are flanked to the left. McMakin is flanked to the right. Harris and Fuqua, who've gone all the way as the running backs. And the give is to Franco, and he's going to be tackled on the 24, losing a yard on the play, and Art Toms and Tony Klein made the tackle for the Oakland Raiders, but bear in mind this, they are down within guerrilla range right now, and they can add to that 3 they have. 3-0 is the score. Pittsburgh leading it. McMakin is coming out right now, the tight end.
I'll tell you that Toms and Tony Klein have played themselves some defensive football here today for Oakland. They have been real workhorses. Klein is not too big either. He's only 6'2". Toms 6'4". They've been outstanding defensively for the Raiders.
2 wide receivers, and the pro set as Bradshaw waits. He's got 3rd and 11 yards to go. Bradshaw is going back, and he hands it off to Franco. Franco barrels his way down to the 23-yard line, and he's hauled down. On the 23-yard line by Art Toms, the right tackle from Syracuse. And here's the 4th down, and in comes Roy Gorilla.
That was Klein again, also helping on the tackle. He's been a demon out there. He's got a nose for that football. And so, to the Pittsburgh Steelers, leading it 3-0 on an 18-yard field goal by Roy Gorilla, who's out there now. 4 minutes and 5 seconds left to play. He'll attempt to add 3 more from the 29-yard line.
Bob Walden will hold the ball, waiting for the snap. At the 29, it's spotted. The kick is in the air, and it is good. A 29-yard field goal. And with the score, Pittsburgh 6, Oakland nothing. There's a timeout on the field.
Other college basketball schedule for this evening. Notre Dame is at UCLA. The Fighting Irish are probably happy about that. Fordham is at California, Louisville at Utah, St. Mary's is California at Stanford, Pitt at Pepperdine, the University of the Pacific at Santa Clara, Portland State at Nevada, Las Vegas, Navy Subpac at Brigham Young, Montana at Oregon State, Gonzaga at Washington, Fullerton at Utah State, Pacific Lutheran at St. Martin, Santa Barbara at Rice, Arkansas versus Memphis State at Little Rock, Oklahoma City at Texas, Colorado at New Mexico, Fresno State at Colorado State, Oklahoma Christian at Texas El Paso, and Hardin-Simmons at Texas Arlington. The lone National Hockey League afternoon game, after one period of play, Detroit leading Vancouver 2-0. However, the Red Wings have picked up another goal 28 seconds into the second period. Vancouver came back and got one at the 4-minute mark in the second period. Detroit leading Vancouver 3-1.
Back at Three River Stadium now, 6-0 to score here. The Steelers out in front. 104 yards rushing on for the Oakland Raiders, 108 for the Steelers. 39 in the air for Oakland, 62 for Pittsburgh. Total of 170 for the Steelers, 143 for the Oakland Raiders. And here's the boot. And deep are Davis and Warren. This one all the way into the end zone. And Davis elects not to run it up. It'll be brought back out the 20-yard line, in play, first down, and 10 to go from the 20. Now, the Oakland Raiders are 80 yards away. They trail by a score of 6-0. What a Super Bowl game we've got here for you, and we hope you're enjoying it. We invite you also to stay tuned, because we got another one coming right after this one out on the coast between Dallas and the 49ers. Western and Monty Strickland standing by to bring you that one. Van and I will be in Washington tomorrow, bringing the big one between the Washington Redskins and the Green Bay Packers. Here's Stabler going back to throw. He fires left-handed downfield. It's caught and it's dropped. It's dropped by Mike Ciani. Mike was on his knees. He had the ball and then dropped it. Clock shows 3 minutes, 36 seconds of playing time remaining. Steelers lead it by a score of 6-0. 2nd and 10 to go. That's 3 of them that they've dropped, Van, in their hands. That's not very good luck for your quarterback. He had it, just went right down through there. Stabler's a left-handed thrower. He played for Bear Bryant at Alabama. Kolitnikov is flanked to the right, Ciani to the left. Hubbard and Smith, the running back. Stabler back to throw again. He looks and throws down the middle, and it is incomplete. Intended for tight end Ray Chester, broken up by Henry Davis. Davis was right where he belonged, the middle linebacker responsible for that zone right there in the middle. And he dropped back to cover his territory well. So it is now 3rd down and still 10 to go, and that clock shows 3:29. And Chuck Noll, the coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, walking up and down in front of the basket across the way. John Madden from Oakland doing the same thing. As the tension grows and the drama builds here at Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh. Anazek is in the backfield in this double wing. Stabler back to throw. He's looking, he throws over the middle to Chester, and he had it at the 30 and was shoved all the way back to the 27. Andy Russell is the man who made the tackle on him, and that ball is on the 29.5-yard line, and it will be 4th down and about a foot to go, Bob. Well, you got 3 minutes and 6 seconds to play in the ball game. You're trailing 6-0, 4th down in a matter of inches, and there's no tomorrow for either of these clubs. The loser is through. And so the Oakland Raiders have nothing to do, of course, but pick it up, and they're going to go for it, of course. Chester and Moore, the 2 tight ends are in there. It's a tight formation with the exception of Bolitnikov. The give is to Smith. He's cutting it over that tackle. He's got the 1st down, goes all the way up to the 35-yard line with it. And Edwards made the tackle for the Pittsburgh Steelers at the 35. The Raiders had to gamble. They had to go for it there. And they made it. 1st and 10 now from their own 35-yard line. Pittsburgh leading 6-0, 2 minutes and 20 seconds of playing time remaining. And the clock running. Kolitnikov is out wide to the right side. To the left side now goes Ciani, and Stabler throws incomplete. Intended for Banaszak out in the right flat, and incomplete. Now let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
This is the American Forces Radio and Television Service.
Patrick, along with Bob Reynolds, Buck Jersey, and our mutual crew in the AFC Playoff Championship games. And here's Vanasek and Smith, the running back. Stabler back to throw, throws the screen pass to Vanasek. He's at the 35, at the 40, the 45. He's still to the 46-yard line. Pete Vanasek was brought down by Glenn Edwards. It'll be a first down, and here's the 2-minute warning now to the two coaches. There's a timeout on the field with a score. Pittsburgh 6, Oakland nothing.
With the rushes of Wisconsin's Rufus Roadrunner Ferguson and the passing of Purdue's Gary Danielson, the North hopes to even the score against the South Christmas night in the Shrine College All-Star football game in Miami. The South leads 12 wins to 11 losses and 1 tie in this 26-year-old classic for charity. The first 2 games were played by high school teams. The game will be the last Monday night football offering of the year for television grid fans, with the kickoff set for 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the Orange Bowl and ABC televising the game nationally. With the increasing emphasis on postseason bowl games grabbing most of the top-rated teams in recent years, this all-star contest has given a chance for many unsung heroes of the college gridiron to display their talents. The week-long practices before the game are heavily attended by professional football scouts with stopwatches and questionnaires in hand. This year's game will be notable as the final coaching assignments for both Michigan's Duffy Doherty, Purdue's Bob DeMoss.
Back at Three River Stadium here in Pittsburgh. Stabler, since he went in there for Darryl Monica, is now 4 out of 7 for 38 yards. The clock 2 minutes. That's what's left here in this one. When we start play again, the ball will be up there at the 45-yard line of the Oakland Raiders in possession of Oakland, who trail here to the Pittsburgh Steelers on 2 field goals by Roy Girella, one of 18 and the other one of 29. And the last one set up by a fumble recovery by Mike Wagner as Stabler back to pass had the ball knocked out of his hand. Look at this. Rushing, both of these teams have picked up 108 yards even apiece. What a great football game we've had here. Listen to this crowd now as they come to their feet.
First down on the Raider 45-yard line. Bolitnikov and Siani to the right. Stabler is going back. He's in trouble back there. He rolls to the left, looks downfield and throws, and it is batted away. And a fine defensive play by Glenn Edwards. Knocked it right out of Ray Chester's hand. That stops the clock with 1 minute and 49 seconds of playing time remaining. It's second down and 10 from the Raider 45.
That's what that zone defense does for you, Van. Fast defense, one man. Instead of man-on-man, they are responsible for a particular area, whoever comes in there, and it's pretty tough to throw against. That's one of the reasons that the season has produced so many 100-yard games on the ground by guys like Franco, Harris, and others. That zone defense has made a difference.
Second and 10 to go for the Oakland Raiders from their own 45-yard line. And back goes Stabler to throw again. He looks, he throws, and this one is caught by Bolitnikov at the 42-yard line, and he goes out of bounds. First and 10 to go for the Oakland Raiders. Now, can the Raiders do it? And they're on the move. 1 minute and 43 seconds of playing time remaining. Pittsburgh leading by a score of 6-0. The Raiders have a first down on the Pittsburgh 42-yard line. And I want to tell you, this crowd of over 50,000 are standing right now. 12 yards on that play. They are really excited.
Johnny Rouser was the defensive cornerback on the play. Got himself a little deep. Came up a little bit too late on Bolitnikov, but they want to protect against the long one.
Back goes Stabler. He throws it, and it's incomplete. He was hit just as he delivered the ball to Chester, and it goes incomplete. And L.C. Greenwood is the man who checked him. He's from Arkansas A&M. 6'6", 245 pounds, and if memory serves me, that school is in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. I'll hear from him for this. Cliff Ranch is coming in. Siani's going out. It could be he brought in a play. Cliff Ranch from Colorado, rookie. What a beautiful campus they have out in Boulder. Wide to left side is Branch. Bolitnikov wide to the right, a double wing. Stabler's going back. A flag is down. Stabler looks, and he is caught from behind. He throws a wobbly pass. It's incomplete. Intended for Chester. And then there was Wagner, who almost intercepted that ball, but a flag was thrown with a minute and a half to go. And let's see what happens here. Preliminary indication it's against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they were offside.
Tackle on the left side to beat the ball just a bit. So to bring up a 2nd down and 5 to go for the Oakland Raiders and move the ball down inside the Pittsburgh 40, down to the Pittsburgh 37.
1 minute and 30 seconds to go. It is 2nd down and 5, and that offside penalty was a costly one to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Bolitnikoff to the right side. Mike Ciani is back in and put out to the left. Smith and Vanasek are the running backs, and Stabler is going back to throw. He's being chased. He lets it fly, and it is caught by Mike Ciani at the 30-yard line, and he's chased out of bounds. That's your first catch today, Bob.
Yep, that stops the clock with 1 minute and 22 to go. That, incidentally, was the first penalty of the entire afternoon against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and it came at a bad time for them. And the ball now is at the 30-yard line of the Pittsburgh Steelers. First down and 10 for Oakland, who trail by 6, remember, with 1:22 to go. And we've had a dandy here for you.
11th play in this drive. The ball is on the 30-yard line. 1st and 10, and here's Stabler again. The blitz is on, but he ran around the man, and Stabler's going to run with it. He's at the 25, the 20, the 15, the 10, the 5. Touchdown, Oakland! Stabler's receivers recovered. He ran 30 yards for a touchdown. Oakland went 80 yards in 11 plays and have tied the ball game.
Well, there's no question, Ben, a defensive lapse there. Covering on the passing, he was all alone. All he had to do was run with it. And by the time the safety man saw him, it was too late. And Stabler has come in here to tie it up. 1 minute and 13 seconds remaining, and the Oakland Raiders have come back here. Seasoned veterans that they are, plugging away all the time, and we're going to get the all-important extra point. And guess who's going to kick it?
Lando will attempt. The kick is up, and it is good. And the score now, the Oakland Raiders 7 and the Pittsburgh Steelers 6. And Snake Stabler from Alabama ran 30 yards for a touchdown, and that's the biggest play of this ball game. Now the Steelers have 1 minute and 13 seconds of playing time remaining to get back in this ball game. Remember this, a field goal can win it for them if they can get within field goal distance. But they have got to move it now on this kickoff to get it back there. Dropping back for Pittsburgh, number 35, Steve Davis, and number 26, Pearson, is going back to try to run this one back. Jerry DePorter will kick off. They've got 1 minute and 13 seconds in which to try to do it.
And he'll kick it as hard as he can boot it to keep it down deep. They'll make no attempt to get the ball up short. They want to keep the Pittsburgh Steelers as deep as possible. And so Jerry DePorter, with his ball club leading out 7-6 in a real thriller here in Pittsburgh, ready to boot the ball. 1:13 left to play.
Here's the whistle, and here's the boot now by Jerry DePorter. Good high end-over-end kick. Coming down to Pearson, 3-yard, hit the goalpost. So he had no chance to run it out. The ball hit the goalpost. It's dead. And it'll be ruled a touchback. Will be brought back out the 20-yard line. First down and 10 to go for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Can the Steelers do it? They've got 1 minute and 13 seconds of playing time remaining. They trail by 1 point. It's 7-6. And this place is in a bedlam in Pittsburgh to Steel City.
And Art Rooney, the owner of the Pittsburgh Steelers, has just left the booth behind us, extremely disappointed and upset.
Ready to go now with 2 wide receivers. Oakland earned it, the lead. They went 80 yards in 11 plays. Bradshaw dumps the screen out there in the right flat to Franco Harris. He's at the 25, brings it up to the 29-yard line, and is brought down at the 29-yard line. Franco Harris getting 9 yards. They're in the 2-minute drill. They're not stopping the clock. 56 seconds to go. They have not stopped the clock, and one of the Raiders is taking a lot of time about getting back there. That was Art Tom that took him 10 seconds to get back in the line of scrimmage. Now it is 2nd down and 1 yard to go from the 29, and Bradshaw's going back to throw. He looks and throws one out here to Pupil. He's got it at 35. He's up to the 40. He goes up to the 40-yard line, and they'll stop the clock with 37 seconds to go. And Gerald Irons made the tackle there. Pittsburgh calls timeout. Pittsburgh 1st and 10 on their own 40-yard line. They trail by a score of 7-6, and we've got excitement in the Steel City today.
Don't forget to stay tuned after this one is over, because there'll be another one out on the coast that ought to be a great one. Dallas, and San Francisco. And tomorrow we invite you to join us for the game in Washington. George Allen's over-the-hill gang, the Washington Redskins, against Danny Devine's Packers, who came all the way back certainly today. This season, rather. And Danny, of course, named the Coach of the Year in the National Football League Central Division for the great job that he did. And all 50,350 of the fans here at Three Rivers Stadium are on their feet now as the Oakland Raiders have come from behind on that 30-yard burst of Kenny Stabler to go out in front 7-6.
37 seconds to go. First down from the Steeler 40. Bradshaw back to throw. He sets up. He looks. He throws. It is. Oh, what a great defensive play Jack Tatum made there. He just knocked that ball right out of McMakin's hands at the last second. 31 seconds of playing time remaining. Tatum made a dive for the ball and just batted away. They were down then and around the 45-yard line of Oakland, had he been able to get to it. 31 seconds.
A situation like this, of course, is all to the advantage of the defense. They know the offense has to throw. They drop everybody back, make sure everybody's covered, and you suffer the possibility of an interception, but they have no choice. Bradshaw must put it in the air.
And back goes Bradshaw. He looks, he throws deep down the middle to Shanklin, and it is incomplete. Shanklin was bumped down there by Atkinson. The crowd thought there might be interference, but they stopped the clock with 26 seconds. Shanklin was deep, and Bradshaw let fly, but Atkinson broke it up. He bumped him down there a little bit, just enough to get him off stride. The old bump and run, Hank Schramm's favorite play. Ball on the 40-yard line. Third down and 10 to go. 26 seconds of playing time remaining. Oakland leading Pittsburgh by a score of 7-6. Stabler's 30-yard touchdown run on the keeper. And back goes Bradshaw to throw again. He looks and throws over the middle. It's batted away by Tatum again. Tatum knocked it away again. It's headed for McMakin again.
Two beautiful plays defensively by the former star at Ohio State. Big plays, number 31, Jack Tatum. And now it is all wrapped up in this one. It is fourth down, still 10 to go. Pittsburgh's ball at their own 40-yard line, 22 seconds left to play after leading throughout the entire ball game by 6 points with only a minute and 13 to go. Oakland's Kenny Stabler going 30 yards for the touchdown.
Back goes Bradshaw. He's looking. He's in trouble back there. He rolls out to the right. He looks. He throws deep, and it is batted away. This one was right into the hands of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Franco Harris at the 30. He's at the 25, the 20, the 15, the 10, the 5, the touchdown for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It went into the 30, down to the 20, took it into the end zone for a touchdown, and this place has gone completely berserk. Franco being carried off the field, and nothing here but a football game that you simply won't believe. Santa Claus is even out on the field, congratulating Franco. Well, that was the case, Santa, where the guy was in the right spot at the right time. The collision between Duqua and the defensive man was a rugged one. It was Jack Tatum who came up with two super defensive plays just ahead of that, was where he belonged. The ball stayed in the air. Franco picked it off, went in for the touchdown. 5 seconds left to play, and the Pittsburgh Steelers have snatched victory almost out of the hands of sure defeat here. And this place is still a bedlam. It could be poetic, I guess, that Franco Harris is the man who got it between the 35 and the 40 and took it in for the touchdown. What a tremendous finish. The clock shows 5 seconds, and the scoreboard says Merry Christmas.
And the officials talking down along the goal line with the both teams are gathered down around there. They're just waiting to see whether time ran out possibly on the play. That may be the question, but the Pittsburgh Steelers couldn't care particularly less. They lead it 12-7 right now, and the clock on the field shows actually 5 seconds of playing time still remaining. And that bench down in front of us of the Pittsburgh Steelers is a mass of humanity. Big sign, Franco's air defense. Signs all over the place. They went 80 yards in 6 plays. And you won't see one like that, I imagine, Van. I haven't seen one like it. I can't remember when the last time was. But that's what happens in football. That's what brings 50,000 people out Saturday and Sunday after Sunday, because you just never know what's going to happen. We're still waiting to see whether or not we're going to get an extra point attempt. John Madden, the coach of the Oakland Raiders, is down there talking to one of the officials. And I don't believe the touchdown is good. No question about that. Well, the discussion probably, Van, is if the offensive man, in that case Buchla, had been the only one to touch it, it would have been an incomplete pass. But the defensive man was the man who was ruled, Jack Tatum, and so it becomes a free ball, and consequently the touchdown is allowed. That's probably what the discussion was all about. So with a matter of only a few seconds left on the clock, we'll get the try for extra point now in a very few seconds, which will make the score 13-7 in favor of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And this place has gone completely wild. I'll tell you, Market Square in downtown Pittsburgh tonight will be really something.
They've got 2 touchdowns scored in the last minute and 8 seconds in this ball game. Gorella will attempt the extra point. 5 seconds showing on the scoreboard clock. Ball is spotted. The kick is up and good. And the score now, the Pittsburgh Steelers 13, the Oakland Raiders 7. But remember this, the Steelers still have to kick off to the Oakland Raiders. And the crowd is right out on the field again. Well, I wish I could get them off because we want to go out to Candlestick Park. We don't want to miss that one. So get them off the field and let's go here in time for this kickoff, and that's about it. Pittsburgh Steelers leading by a score of 13-7, which has been a dramatic ball game, and we sincerely hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have here at Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh. It's been tremendous, a lot of excitement, and we'll have more of same following this one again tomorrow.
Well, Dan, I'll say this, if we have one tomorrow as exciting as this one, I don't know whether you and I will make it through the day. This is cardiac stuff, I'll tell you. And this crowd standing, every single solitary one of them, to watch the action here, the clock showing 5 seconds left to play. And when that gun goes off, and the Steelers, if they hang on to it, you're going to see the greatest mass exodus of fans out onto that stand out onto the field you've ever seen. And you can bet they'll kick it deep.
Think about those fans who left when Oakland scored.
Yeah.
Branch is one of the deep men. We're waiting for Gorella's kick. 5 seconds to go. Here's the boot, and it's a spinning type kick, but it's going to go all the way to the end zone. And it'll be down right there. The clock still hasn't started.
A super kick.
Sure was.
He kicked it low to take his time, not too fast. He didn't get the hard foot into it because he wanted to eat up, of course, as much of the time as possible, and he did. Although the clock does not start until the man picks it up and runs it out. But he was making sure that nobody had a chance to run it back, at least. And so, once again, the fans here shouting, defense, defense, defense. The clock showing 5 seconds. Oakland trailing 13-7, have the ball at their own 20.
They come out of the huddle. And the quarterback is Stabler. He's got Cliff Branch and Blitnikoff on the right side. They've got time for one play. And back goes Stabler. He throws the home run ball downfield, and I want to tell you, the ball is in the air again, and the Steelers got it down. They had 5 men on Ray Chester. There's the gun, and the Steelers have qualified to meet the winner of the Miami-Cleveland game for the American Football Conference Championship. They beat the Raiders 13-7. In just a moment, we'll present the wrap-up of today's game. Now this...
Well, you just can't ask for a more exciting finish to a football game. Of course, if you're a Pittsburgh fan, you're overjoyed, and if you're an Oakland fan, heartbroken, and well, you should be, as the Raiders did battle back from a 6-0 deficit, only to lose the ball game on that freak play, and about one chance in a million something like that would happen. But it did happen, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are the victors in the game against Oakland. Let's go back.
Back here at Three River Stadium in this crowd, grabbing the Pittsburgh Steelers, carrying them off on their shoulders to the dressing room. They got by the big one today in a wild finish with the only 2 touchdowns of the game coming in a period of 1 minute and 13 seconds, the last minute and 13 seconds. And after the Pittsburgh Steelers defensive unit had done such a superb job, and we're saying also that Oakland's defense was tough, real tough, all afternoon. But after the Pittsburgh defense had done the job, and the foot of Roy Gerala had given them 6 points on 2 field goals, one of 18 yards and the other one of 29, it appeared that the Pittsburgh Steelers had it. And then Stabler, who came in relief of Darryl LaMonica, went back to pass. Everybody was covered, and everybody was covering the pass receivers. And so Stabler, with an open door to the end zone, ran 30 yards, and all of a sudden the thing had turned around, and it was Oakland's ball game, 7-6, as George planned to convert it. But that wasn't to be the finish, and we'll tell you about the finish. We'll continue our wrap-up after this word.
Well, the Steelers and Raiders, with 2 mighty defenses dominating play, battled to a scoreless tie at the half in this playoff game. Pittsburgh's defense twice forced turnovers, but the Steeler offense was unable to capitalize. Linebacker Andy Russell intercepted a Darryl LaMonica pass on the Pittsburgh 36 early in the first period, and Pittsburgh moved to the Oakland 46, but Roy Gerala's 52-yard field goal attempt fell well short. More wrap-up. Let's go back again.
And now just to tell you about the wrap-up, with just a matter of about 6 seconds left to play, Hanratty dropped back to throw. Bradshaw, of course, dropped back to throw. Threw one intended for Philquist. Jack Tatum was there with him on the defensive play. They collided, the ball bounded in the air, and Franco, who's trailing on the play, came along, took it before it hit the ground, around the 30-yard line or so, ran it in for the touchdown, and that was the ball game, a wild and woolly finish, and the Pittsburgh Steelers have done it again, winning their 8th game in a row here at home, and a big one here this afternoon. A thrilling defensive ball game with a wild finish, and we hope that you have enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you. We invite you to stay tuned, however, because there's another one coming. That's the story here from Pittsburgh's Three River Stadium. Now, Van, a word from you.
All right, our thanks to Mel Chuck of KDKA in Pittsburgh, who was in charge of the engineering on the broadcast today. And working with us in the booth was Jack Futz of Charlotte, North Carolina. Working on the production was Bob Freshley and Stan Petzak. Our statistician was Buck Jersey. And our executive producer today was Dick Buller.